Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly, I think I'm going to be your friendly game master this evening. Because tonight, you see, we did have a scheduled session of our Night Below campaign, but unfortunately we had some folks. This is a very, very busy time of year, it turns out. So we've had a lot of people who were unable to attend at the last minute. So myself and the other two stars of the session we're going to have tonight talked it over, and what we decided to do is to take the time and the opportunity to explore one of the other options for our annual gaming marathon. Recently we made some characters for the Witcher RPG. That is one of the candidates for this. One of the other candidates is Modiphius Entertainment's outstanding Star Trek Adventures RPG. So we're going to take this out for a spin. We're going to create some characters and then see if we can't get these characters in some trouble on the final frontier. But speaking of the people who are going to be in trouble, let me introduce you to some of the other people who will be creating a crew of an as-yet unnamed starship. First up, we got Dave.
Hey everybody, I'm Dave, and tonight I'm not playing Druin, but actually I don't even know who I'm playing, so I'll be playing somebody. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. Really love Modiphius' games, and I've never played this particular game, but big Star Trek fan, so it should be a lot of fun.
So I think one of the deciding factors for this, too, was we were talking it over to see who was big Star Trek fans for this. I'm a massive Star Trek fan, and it turns out Dave and Jeff are both massive Star Trek fans, too. So, and we may be joined by one more player as well, too, who is likewise a bit of a Star Trek fanatic, so... Definitely, I think the game plays well and you can have a lot of fun with it, even if you don't know anything about Star Trek. But if you do, I think it has that added cachet to it as well. The other person who's going to be creating a member of this as-yet unnamed vessel will be Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I don't know what direction I'm going to go yet, but hopefully some interesting Trekkie.
Nice. So one of the things we talked about before we went live is, well, a couple things. The character generation system, or the way you make characters in Star Trek Adventures, there's two different ways to go about it. One of them is through a detailed life path kind of system, similar to what you do in Conan or in Infinity or some of the other 2D20 games. The other way is just to build a character, and you assign. It's a very if you want to, start a session and then get to playing right away, it's a really great way of doing that. It's very easy, but it does assume some knowledge of the game already, and it also, you don't get the opportunity to go through the life path system that we all like doing. So what we decided to do is to go through the life path way. The other thing we got to decide is what kind of crew we're going to make up here, and I've suggested that we start in an original series time period, so something from the 23rd century. I'm going to suggest, guys, because we've been using this as our go-to name for vessels, we're going to have a Constitution-class vessel called the USS Vanguard, because we've used the Vanguard in the 24th century as well, too, so it might be interesting to explore their previous dates. I see you both nodding. I take it you're both on board with that?
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right, guys. So then, let's get to making some characters. So one thing I will say about the original, so there at the time of recording, there are two different versions of a core rulebook. One of them is the Star Trek Adventures, which gives you everything you need for making Starfleet characters. There was also released within the last few months the Klingon core rulebook. So you can make Klingon characters as well too, and there's some slight differences between the rules. Klingon 1 is presented a little more clearly. There's some things that are a little unclear in the Star Trek Adventures book, but at its heart, I mean, it's the same game. So guys, first thing we need to do is, so a life path overview to let you know where we're going through this is, we've got 7 steps to go through. First step is choosing species. Step 2 is choose the environment they came from. Oh, and we'll get Andrew set up in here as well. And
so what page are we starting on, Ken?
We are starting on page 101, I believe.
Okay.
Give me a sec here, guys. I'm just going to get the invite for...
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Let's see here. Nope, that's not what I need. What do I need? I need two. I know for a fact I've got the wrong... Oh, here we go. Copy joining info. There we go. And did I add? I did not yet. Go. Okay, so put the link to the meet in the chat there. Andrew, good evening.
Hello.
So we were talking, Andrew, because we were down so many people, about what games we might explore in the since we had the downtime, and after about 20 minutes of humming and hawing, we all collectively stumbled on, oh wait, Star Trek Adventures, because it's one of the options that I'm considering for the gaming marathon. I'm like, well, guys, I mean, I don't want to force my obsession on anyone else. How are you guys Star Trek fans? And both Jeff and Dave are like, yeah, of course. I'm like, well, I know Andrew is a big Star Trek fan, so yes. Those familiar with the image tab or the image channel on the Dungeon Musings Discord server will be well familiar with your impressive fleet. So all you've missed is just the intro. We talked about who everyone is, so let me introduce Andrew to everybody as well too. And I just set up the character for you as well, or a character sheet. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the so the things we decided to sort of set the parameters for the crew we're going to generate is it's going to be in the original series era. It's going to be on a Constitution class vessel, and the name of the vessel is the USS Vanguard.
All right.
So, if you guys can go to page, I think it's 101. This is the life path overview. That's the kind of starting point where we'll go from this. The other thing I'll mention is I'm going to suggest we use random rolls for things, but if you guys decide to intervene and something makes more sense for the character that you're seeing come together, just take it. We can break those rules. We don't need to be bound by, slavishly to the dice rolls. I'm also going to crack out my, my Borg cube. See, Modiphius, when it launched the game, one of the offers you could get was a Borg cube, and they were thinking ahead because with a whole first line of books that all came out, it fills the Borg cube with an extra rule book. So, let's see here. Does everyone have that life path page?
I am sorry. I was struggling with Gmail. It's not wanting to open up. It's not letting me download the PDF. So I'm trying to print it, and it's loading it that way.
Okay,
so
perfect.
Yep. Almost there.
Okay.
What was the page again?
So page 101.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
So the things we're going to go through is step 1 is choosing a species. Step 2 is choose environment. Step 3 is your upbringing. Step 4 is you attending Starfleet Academy. Step 5 is how long you have been in the career so far. Step 6 defines some more career events, and step 7 is finishing touches. So, on page 102 there is a random option, an option for random what species your character comes from, or you can choose your species. Unsurprisingly, it is overwhelmingly human for an original series game. But they have added, with the source books that have come out, they have added other species. So if there is a species from an episode of the animated series or something else that you really are stuck on, that's cool. We can probably find rules for them. Otherwise, either select or roll a d20. I don't need to hold my breath to see what Jeff's going to do.
Yeah. Just going back to this.
Sure.
Game. Roll d20.
Okay.
But he knows I'm rolling.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know he's rolling. Jeff, you're playing a Tellarite.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. Dave, you rolled a 1. You're playing an Andorian. And Andrew, you are playing a human.
Okay.
Okay. So
An average result for an average roll.
Dave, Andorians are on page 103. The Jeffrey, the Tellarites are on page 108, and the humans are on 107. So what the species gives you is you get a species trait, and we'll talk about what the traits mean and what they do as we get through this. Let me take a look at your character sheet. So I'll grab, you know what, I'll get a sample character sheet going here so I'm not screwing up your sheets. There you go. Okay, that's sheets. Alrighty. Those keen listeners at home may notice that we're not using any official music because we don't want to have a copyright strike. If there's anything more, powerful and enforceable than the Prime Directive, it would be YouTube's copyright song algorithm.
I mean, is the Prime Directive really that enforceable?
Yes. Yes! Except for when it isn't. Alright, so traits go right at the top there, guys. So you will get, each of you has a species trait. I forgot to start this, sorry. There we go. Alrighty.
Hold on, I gotta open my sheet. Jeff's character.
Okay. There we go.
Character sheet.
Alright, so you get a species trait. So your attributes, guys, they all start at 7. And all your disciplines start at 1. The way that, for those of you who have played Conan before or Infinity, it's like that where you combine attributes and skills, but instead of skills you have disciplines, and then you'll have different focuses that will add further, to your skill.
Okay, so attributes all start at 7, and then you gain whatever it says for your...
Yes, for whatever your species
character.
Modifiers are.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, plus
for
1
me, that's control, fitness, and insight.
Yep. And for the Andorian, +1 daring, +1 control, +1 presence. And for humans, +1 to any 3 attributes.
Huh, I didn't know. I'm not seeing that, but cool.
Yeah, it's right at the, if you're on page 107, right
Trait,
at the, under
talent.
attributes.
Oh, sorry. 3 attributes and add. Sorry, I was looking at traits.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so any 3 and add 1. All right.
So your
Is there a
trait.
place to copy all the trait information?
No. Just put the name down. Okay. Then there are talents. You just need to be aware.
Wait, what? The trait has a name?
Yeah, yours is human. It should be your species.
Or no, Tellarite. Oh, I see.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Okay, I see.
Okay.
That sneaky one was...
Species. Oh, here we go. On talents.
Well, it's the same. I'm just like, what do you mean the trait has a name?
All right. So
Tellarite.
now your talents are kind of like feats, where they give you some like 5th edition feats or like edges from Savage Worlds, where they give you something that is something unique to what your character can do that other characters generally cannot, unless they have that talent or trait, or I'm sorry, talent. You can select one of the talents from your species that's listed there, guys, or you can go to page 135 and select one of the general talents. Now, one thing that's worth talking about now is which of the divisions that you guys will be a part of. They are command, con, security, engineering, science, or medical. You guys have, and you guys will be assumed to be, you'll be the highest ranking officers in your different division on the Vanguard. So what are you guys thinking? Anybody itching to play con? And then the neat thing that you do is you fill out the rest of the crew with NPCs. And there's a very cool, easy character creation process that we go through to have supplemental characters, and then in an ongoing campaign, you can switch to those characters, and you can play them as your main character for a session if you choose to. So you don't need to worry about the rest of the crew will be filled out, but if there's someone you are particularly keen on, Remember that in original series era, there are 2 con officers. They divide up the navigator and the con officer, and also admit there is no counselor on the bridge.
I mean, I don't obviously have any background in the game, so I'm thinking I might just take the default traits here, or default talents rather.
Okay.
You get one of them, right?
Well, I guess yeah. But
so,
let's just quickly talk about what do you guys think you want to work towards? What does anyone really want to play an engineer? Anyone a security officer?
Anybody have any leanings?
I mean, I took.
You're all such
looking
team
at my
players.
attributes as if that's going to help me, because like I don't know I don't even know what these attributes mean
Let's do this.
mechanically in the game.
Guys,
so.
we can park that, and as we go along here, if one character it seems that your character particularly leans towards one thing or another thing, just call dibs on it.
Security.
There you go. You are red shirt.
I'm like, if you guys don't want to call it, I'm calling security. Man.
I mean, in this game, I don't think I would want to be a red shirt. That's kind of the one you want to avoid. If we're playing original era, anyway.
So then, one thing to consider for your character, then, Dave, is in addition to the Andorian traits, you can also, or talents, you could also go for the general or for one of the security talents.
Okay.
And you guys
Right
can
off the
choose to wait. We can just remember that you could put it down as talent 1 if you don't want to make that decision just yet.
Okay.
Okay. I think unless this is stepping on what you are thinking, Andrew, I'd like to go engineering.
I think that's cool because I think I'll go science.
Okay.
Okay.
Yellow shirt, blue shirt, red shirt. Love it. All right. Then, next thing, guys, is the environment. Let's see here.
Well, 2 red shirts.
What was the page of the columns?
Engineering's red, science is blue. And I forgot, engineering is a red, or security is red as well. You're right. Okay. So then, environment. Do you guys want to, if you want to randomly generate, it's a D6.
So we have 2 red and 1 yellow?
2 reds, 1 yellow, correct.
Kind of like that GIF I posted in the Discord channel?
Yeah, exactly.
Does cut and paste work on this text?
It should.
Sorry, Kev, what were you asking?
Asking, so if we're going to determine your environment, the environment you were born into, so you can roll a D6.
Yeah, we're rolling.
I'm on page 111 of the core rulebook. Okay, Ensign Red Shirt. Ooh, another species world.
Ooh.
So that's interesting. So if you look on page, and then, let's see here. Jeffrey, you were born on the home world, so the Tellarite home world.
Cool.
And then Andrew?
Yep.
D6, another species world as well. So a human who grew up on some other species world. So the home world is listed on page 111. At this step, you get a single value. The value should reflect the environment and culture that you were raised in. So it's worth talking about what values are in the game, because they do play a role in recovering. Your narrative metacurrency in this is confidence, and the way that you generate it or make use of it is by calling on your values. So, let me see here. There's a good example values. They list here are things like a starship is a home, its crew a family. Most comfortable in a crowd. Body and mind alike must be healthy. No stranger to violence. Emotion in a crisis only makes things worse. Or engineer at heart. And if you want to see more, they're on page 113 and 114.
Okay. In the purple text there? Okay.
Yeah, in the purple text, because, purple on black is really easy to read. So
It looks nice. But
it looks great. Like it totally looks like setting appropriate. But boy, is it's not easy on the eyes all the time. Or you can come up with your own too. So you're going to come up with a value connected with your home world or where you grew up. You're also going to so those of you who on the home world choose one of the 3 attributes for your character species and increase one of those by 1. So Jeff, you'll be looking at the Tellarite abilities, and then Andrew and Dave, you guys are going to randomly roll to see another species, and then you're going to increase attributes that species gets.
Oh, okay. Kev, which one is... Oh, I guess control is for engineering?
So it's very narrative focused, but if you give me a sec here...
Yeah, okay, that's okay. I'll just choose control anyway.
I can tell you...
Or insight. No, I'm going to go insight, actually. Insightful.
Trying to find
Alright, I will go random, because why not?
Heck yeah. Okay. So give us another D20, please.
Another D20. Okay.
Andorian. You're a human
Nice.
who grew up on an Andorian. And the Andorian attributes are on page 103. And Dave, you want to roll randomly or select?
Oh, I rolled 2.
Okay, Dave. Answer at 16. Tellarite. That's interesting. So Andorians on a Tellarite world, humans on an Andorian world, and the Tellarite grew up amongst his own.
So Jeff's a Tellarite?
Jeff's a Tellarite, yeah.
So I grew up on Tellarite world.
Yep.
And I grew up on an Andorian world. This is... Alright.
And so you get a value from this period, you get your attribute, and then you also choose any one discipline, and you can increase it by 1.
Ooh, this is interesting.
Oh,
All
except for
3
you.
of the attributes that the Andorians get by default are the ones that I've already increased by 1
Interesting.
on my sheet just because I wanted to. So
Yeah, yeah.
this is okay.
Cool.
We're gonna add another one.
And then, Jeff, yours, because you grew up in your home world, it's either command, security, or science, and you increase those by 1. One of them by 1.
Yeah, I'm going to go with command.
Command, okay. What about Ensign Redshirt and and Andrew? What did you guys select as your discipline?
I was still looking up at the Tellarite abilities.
Tellarite ones are control, fitness, and insight.
Control.
Well, I guess I had already gone. Like, I was gonna be the science officer, so I'd already picked science, I guess. So, like, that's the one I would increase, right?
It's your choice, yeah.
Your choice.
This is also an opportunity to gain some in ones that don't fit science if you go into science at Starfleet.
Yeah.
Right. I guess. I'm sorry. So we didn't when we earlier chose our career path. We didn't gain a plus to any of the disciplines at that point. That was just our. That's just our.
Yeah, just
our department.
Exactly. Get an idea what you're working towards.
Right. Okay. So now I can choose to like double down on that or
Yep.
save that for something else. Yeah. I mean, but why not? I like that. So we'll make that a 2.
And I'm going to go with command, I think.
Cool. Nice. All right. So then, what are the values that you guys picked?
Oh, yeah.
One of the things I would say about the game, so the game is very character focused and very more so than the other 2D20 games, because in order to engage your confidence, or for me to fuck you over, we need to trigger those values. And one of the neat things about the game over play is that when you there's a way of like effectively like burning a value, you can change your values as a result of what happens in a game. You know,
So reading up the Tellarites, it sounds like they're pretty easy to anger and stuff like that. So
Yep.
I think no stranger to violence is going to be mine.
okay.
Ooh, interesting.
Which makes sense for you going into what do you call it?
Security.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, ritualized dueling is a thing among Andorians as well, too. What about you, Jeff?
I'm going with understands technology better than people.
It's a good
So
one.
I think a lot of it was like, sort of the opposite. Like to stay out of trouble, he connected with the machine world and technology, and
Yep. That's
he's always
awesome.
been taking things apart and tinkering with them.
And what about you, Andrew? What did you take for your guy? Or girl?
I took. What was it again? Oh yeah, a responsibility to the truth, whether it's personal truth. I'm not gonna go. He doesn't exist yet, but he's just a wee lad. But yes,
Yep.
a responsibility to the truth.
That is very cool. All right. So that was your home world or your environment. Next up is your upbringing. Would you each kindly give me a D6 roll? So Ensign Redshirt's the first one. Artistic and creative. That's interesting.
That's to keep myself from freaking out.
And then both Andrew and Jeff, Starfleet. So what this will give you is this is cool. So you can choose to, in your upbringing phase, to accept your upbringing or rebel against it. So if you accept the upbringing, the orderly, purposeful life increases your control by 2. This is for the Starfleet guys. Control by 2 and your fitness by 1. If you rebelled against the upbringing, you increase your daring by 2 and your insight by 1. What do you guys think?
I think that both of my parents were Starfleet, and I've always imagined that I would be Starfleet when I grew up. And I don't think I rebelled against it. I think that I fell in line with that idea.
Awesome. So your control increases by 2 and your fitness by 1. How about you, Andrew?
I think likewise. I think given especially my values, my character is a scientist to the core and believes strongly that is their purpose in what better place to explore that than Starfleet?
Love it. So then your control increases by 2 and your fitness by 1. Dave, for yours, the artistic upbringing. So if you accepted this upbringing, you develop a greater understanding of emotion and communication, increasing your insight by 1 and your presence by 2. If you rebelled against it, you're more inclined to action than expression, increasing your daring by 1 and your fitness by 2. What do you think?
I think growing up in such a dangerous place and not really fitting in, I think it makes more sense that I had to give up on my artistic and creative side and seek out pure survival.
Okay. One of the things I will mention as well is that the Tellarites are sort of like, if they're known for one thing, it's for being argumentative and difficult. And Andorians are not the most cool or level-headed of sorts, so if you grew up among them, it would make a lot of sense that you'd be in a lot of fights with Tellarites.
I don't think you've got that right, Kev.
Oh, really? Oh, you mean this setting? Yeah.
I'm getting practice with being argumentative.
Oh, nice. So I take it you rebelled against your upbringing then.
I rebelled against my upbringing.
Fantastic.
+1 daring and +2 fitness.
All right. So then, for disciplines for the Starfleet folks, your exposure to the ways and traditions of Starfleet allow them to increase any one discipline, and then your focus should relate to your connection to Starfleet, covering skills learned during your character's formative years. Examples include astronavigation, composure, extravehicular activity, hand-to-hand combat, hand phasers, small craft. There's a bunch of other ones listed there, but you can select from among those. And then
they're just made up, or is there a list of them somewhere?
Those are the ones. No, there's not really a list. Focuses are, or the foci, I should say, are. You can add ones in. It's just that I get to overrule if something is too broad or hyper specific. Then you might, either I'll say, well, no, that's just too broad. The way that they come into play, I'm trying to remember here. I can't remember if it gives you an extra dice with it, or if it. There you go, traits. And
so the one I was thinking of, I mean, you can tell me if this is too broad. I don't really know the gameplay or not, but
yep.
The one I'm thinking of is Starship Systems. So, meaning familiarity with like all the little systems, the door system, the air conditioning or the air control, the food system, like
Yeah.
he was just always into that kind of stuff, like learning about the mechanics and the computers that are running each part of the ship.
Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm just looking at.
I mean, I don't know what that's too whatever.
So they are the focuses that they give like as examples for operations are things like computers, starship, starboard tactical systems, transporters and replicators. So I think it needs to be a little bit more specific, like maybe engines, or starship like warp engines. That even starship engines, I think I'd be fine with that as the category because that would cover both impulse and warp engines. Could be.
Oh.
And then for yours, Dave.
We're not going to let George Straighten join us, are we? He's got way too much insight into this sort of thing.
I have an entire wasted childhood reading like blueprints of the Enterprise, so I'm happy to have him join. He'd be in good company.
He just posted in Discord that he's going to join.
Oh, awesome!
Well, now, so what if it was something like that, Kev? Like, what if it was starship layouts, like Starfleet's, like...
Oh, shit, we gotta flip him the... Dave, would you mind flipping him the email?
Sure.
That has the... let's see here.
So we get this ring through this...
I posted this on the YouTube chat, but as I was loading the YouTube video to watch chat, I noticed this is quite fitting that we're playing Star Trek Adventures tonight. I don't know if any of you guys follow the Axenar fan film that's being produced over the last decade.
Yep.
They're premiering a new interlude short film tonight.
No shit.
At the same time we're playing right now, they're live premiering it.
Oh wow.
Nobody leave. You're not allowed leaving yet.
Some poor bastard as they're searching to try and find the Axenar filter. Why am I watching these clowns play a game? Come on. That's great. That's great for them.
I mean, this is the premiere of that. No.
I know they unfortunately they lost there's at least 2 cast members from the
Richard Hatch passed away.
Richard Hatch passed away, and the guy who played Martok passed away last year, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he was playing he played a Starfleet general.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Hatch obviously plays the Klingon.
I know that Hatch. Now that I'm saying it out loud. Let's see here. I want to double check that. I want to.
Hatch for sure. I knew that.
Yeah.
What are you? Wait, unless you're thinking about, because I know that the actor who played Rom on Deep Space Nine.
No, definitely not him. Let's see here. J.G. Hertzlinger.
Oh yeah.
No, he's not dead. He's not dead. I just declared him dead. Sorry, dude.
Sorry.
Wow. You heard it first, folks.
Yes. Breaking news: people not being dead.
I was gonna say, because he voiced a current, well, not current, but recent adventure or episode or event or whatever in Star Trek Online. I thought.
Oh, okay, great.
That was released within the last year. Mind you, I don't even know, because half of those are so old and they recycled them. I don't even know anymore what is new or old on that game.
Okay, I just flipped George the...
Should we make up George's character as we go?
Sorry, you guys make him up?
Yeah,
no.
I'm just thinking, because if he's going to join after we're done, or you could, or I'm just saying we're already playing when he gets here.
Did he say when he was going to join?
Yeah, halfway through, which would be another half hour.
Oh yeah, that's fine. So let's start his role. Yeah, I don't think George will care.
No,
I'll fill it in as we go here.
Yeah.
So let's do this. We need Dave. Would you mind rolling George's species? Jeff, would you roll? So that's a D20 from you, a D6 for the upbringing from you, Jeff, and a D6 for the environment, or reverse. Jeff's going to roll environment, and Andrew, you'll roll the other thing. Okay, so what do we got here? The D20 is a 4. I think that's human.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, it is denobulan.
Whoa.
That's interesting. All right, so a denobulan gets a +1 to fitness. So fitness will be 8. Insight is going to be 8. Whoop. And reason will be 8. The trait is Denobulin. It needs a... So... talents. Talent 1. And then we got the... there's nothing else I increase in that first stage, right? +3 to things. Yep. Step 2 is a value, which comes from Jeffrey. Let's see here. You rolled a 4.
That's a
frontier. Frontier colony. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At the risk of being difficult.
Yep.
Could I take back my decision to roll my upbringing?
Yeah, what do you want?
I'm reading the science and technology one, and it just seems to make a whole lot more sense to like. I kind of want to. I'm feeling like the need to double down on.
One of the things is nice about the. You're going to have, I think it's like 14 points to be able to customize this character over the course of all the different steps you take.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
There's lots of points, and one of the things that I find is fun about this is that you end up with unusual, like, Sulu. No one's going to make Sulu a fencer, right? Like, unless it's something that you intentionally or you some weird, like carry over from D&D when you're making the character. It's unlikely you would have that as one of the things they like, right?
Oh, okay. I was just thinking in terms of like the focus or the foci, like what my focus would be. It seems like those options, no science options are actually open to me as the one I took, but
it just means that you're probably going to be a more well-rounded character, and also your chat. Okay. One of the things, like in the course of overplay, at the end of saying you can move stuff around as you play. Like one of the neat things with the experience point system is that characters often develop by shifting around things more so than just like getting more points and getting more badass. So you. Even over the course of play, you can find that your character will shift. If at the end of this you find that, like, we're talking about like a 1 point here, 1 point there. If at the end of it you find like, this isn't the character I really envisioned, we can go back and rework the stuff. But it's kind of fun to see who comes together. First.
No, for sure. Knowing that now, then yeah, whatever.
Let's damn the torpedoes, right? The proton torpedoes.
Yeah.
Okay, or photon. Let's see.
Sometimes you got to roll a hard 6. Oops, wrong family.
All right, so here you go. So he gets a value, and we'll let let's see here, George decide. Environment value. +1 to 1 attribute, guys. What are we thinking for what type of character? George, we got a command. Let's throw him into command.
Yeah, let's make him the commanding op. Yeah, I like it.
Yep. So
we're gonna made you a character and you're in command. So, together.
Yeah.
So it's been a long day, but
you're in charge of this rabble.
Yeah.
So it did put 1 into his presence. From that, he's got a value from his life in the frontier. Oh, sorry. It's actually I can't do that. It's got to go to.
You could make his value something like about
either control or fitness. What do you guys think?
Fitness.
Fitness, you got it.
Fitness. He's on the frontier.
Yep.
I was thinking you could make his value something about like exploring the unknown, or something about the edges of space, right? If he's out in a frontier colony.
What about what's that saying? If those who can't make something make do. There's a
right. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I can't remember what the. Well, I don't remember the phrases, but what if I'm going to paraphrase it as like,
so those who don't what?
What if it's do without or make do?
I think, yeah.
Okay. Oops. All right. Then he gets to raise either con, security, or medicine. What do you guys think?
Medicine.
Medicine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are
Not
sort
because
of...
we don't have anybody in medicine, but just,
Yeah. The only Denobulan we've really seen is Phlox, so... All right, and then the final, the upbringing one to get him caught up to you guys was a 3. Agricultural or rural upbringing. If he accepted this upbringing, he'd increase his control by 1 and his fitness by 2. If he rebelled against it, his presence by 1 and his reason by 2. If he's going to be a leader, that feels more like rebelled against a,
Rebelled against his...
rebelled against becoming a farmer on the frontier and wanted to, join Starfleet or something, right?
Yep. So it puts his presence as an 8 and his reasons at a 10. And his focus should relate to the rural lifestyle, the skills they learned. Examples include animal handling, athletics, emergency medicine, endurance, ground vehicles, infectious diseases, navigation, or toxicology. I mean, if we're playing original series, athletics, I could see coming in.
Yeah, totally.
Two-handed.
Yeah, being a physical captain or leader is a good thing, I think.
Okay.
In case he's got to fight somebody in a green alien foam suit.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so he's got athletics as his focus, and he gains a single talent. And let's put that under his talent 2.
Can we give him a talent for using excessive punctuation and pausing in conversation?
Yeah, strange pacing of line delivery. Okay, and this is for upbringing. All right, guys, so we are caught up here. So
I'm going to go with... Kev, I'm going to go with Starfleet with engines for my focus.
Okay.
But I think then just as a character trait, if it's cool with you, I'd still like to do something along the lines of the Starship specifications or whatever, but it's like a nerdy thing, like someone's like, this, and he'll be like, well, actually the food replicators on those class of ships had notorious trouble generating Vulcan diet or so, just nerdy stuff
so
like that.
You're going to get more focus, just like with Andrew's character, you're going to get more focuses as you go along here too. So don't think that this is the last chance at that.
Are you? So wait, Jeff, were you? Is that the
That's my
Starship
focus?
recognition focus?
Oh, maybe that would work.
Because I was thinking about doing that, but I was literally reading that as I'm the ship nerd that knows
Jane's guide.
the registration numbers and the
I think that's more like recognizing the ships, looking at it and pointing at, that's this class, blah blah blah, that's the Excelsior, whatever, it was built this time. I'm thinking that's that kind of detail, but I'm more about the systems. I would tell you oh no, the cargo bay's on, cargo bay 3's on floor 6, not 7. What's wrong with you? More knowing that kind of junk, right?
What's wrong with you? You're already playing Telluride perfectly.
Oh, totally. Because he's argumentative, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Actually, it would be fitting for me to know that makes a lot of sense. For you to do that, and for me to be that the ship nerd in the terms of I know this registration number, or I know that. Well, I don't think I would know the prefix codes. That's a little much. Mm-hmm. But because I'm that Starfleet is my life kind of hero worship kind of stuff.
Right, and I imagine both of us as young children studying the new ships as they would come out, but looking at very different things. Your character was maybe oh, this ship looks so cool, it's gonna explore new things, these are its mission, this is its whatever, and I'm more ooh, this ship has the new door system that they're trying out that's got this new motor in it, it's supposed to be quite a bit faster motor. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it makes sense too, because I think I'm definitely feeling like my character was very much get me out there on the edge and exploring new shit and put me in the coolest ship to do it too.
Sure. Yeah.
right? That's
Okay.
all that's about.
So you, what about you, Dave? What did you take as your focus?
I was looking. I was still trying to figure out my first talent.
Oh shit. Okay.
I'll go back to focuses. Sorry, where were we? Page
So I'm on page
115?
115 for you for artistic and creative. Focus should relate to the way characters' preferred way of applying their skills includes botany, cultural skills, hollow programming, linguistics, music, observation, persuasion, and psychology. And I was quickly looking up the way that the focuses work, guys, is that like in other D20 games, the way that you do task resolution is you start with 2 D20. It can be, you can have reasons for adding extra dice to that up to a max of 5. And then you roll. If you roll equal to or less than your attribute plus your discipline, you're successful. If you roll a 1, it counts as 2 successes. And if you have a focus that applies, then if you roll equal to your discipline or less, then you get 2 focuses or 2 successes. So your focuses, if they come into play, they give you a better chance of getting better quality successes. And the nice thing is the character sheet takes care of all of that stuff for you.
Right. So in this, for artistic and creative, I had rebelled. So does that mean that the focuses that are artistic and creative, I should be looking at something?
No, because you still grew up around that. You
Okay,
still
so
would have been
it's
in that environment. You
just
even agreed. Yeah,
Influences you had growing up. Okay.
exactly. Because you just even if you decided it wasn't what you wanted, even kids who don't want to live on a farm or want to get away from it, they're still going to know how to do certain farm tasks because they had to do it, right?
Right. So when I was like, they were trying to force feed me to learn art, and you have to look at all the details and the drawing and the brush strokes and stuff like that. I get really good at observing things.
Know it? Yeah.
Observation.
You got it. Okay. So have we selected everyone's focus and everything from this one? If you guys are looking at talents too, we can take your time with that.
Yeah, I just started looking at talents.
Sure.
I put all the text in there, but I guess there's only space for what it is. Really,
yes,
right?
and you really only need the talents do have specific specific rules to them. What I can give you guys, if you want a reference sheet, let me do this.
We get it. So we get an upbringing talent as well.
I'm sorry. Say again.
So it says right at the bottom, before it goes on to diplomacy and politics, it says character also gains a single talent from the list of talents. So this is our second talent then? One from
This is
our...
your second talent, correct.
Oh, shit! I messed that up.
What'd you do?
Yes.
Yeah,
You
your
get
first
one
talent
talent.
was either from the list of 2 from your race, or you could choose a standard talent or whatever.
Oh,
A basic
right.
talent, yeah.
Or a
Right,
basic
right,
talent.
right.
Right. So if I'm looking at like security talents, or my 2 from my race or species, whatever, then there's
There's also main on 135. There are
general.
the general talents, yeah. So for
Keep
I'll
forgetting I'm zoomed.
I'm gonna let George select his talents. I'm not gonna make that call for him. But here, guys, let me give you, if you want to have something that's a handout with your rules in it, let me just duplicate this sucker a couple of times here. Edit. Yeah, one thing I wish it wouldn't do is when I open up the thing, is automatically cover up the cameras. 2, 3. All right, guys. So we got 4 copies of the copy of character rules reference. You guys lay claim to one of those and put your name on it if you want to make use of that. And let's see here. So if you guys are ready to enroll in Starfleet Academy.
What does work and effort do? I ask because the talent I'm looking at refers to them, and I don't understand. I need to understand.
So work and effort is, if you think, it's one of the sub mechanics in the game that tracks long-term tasks or complex tasks. I think they call it. Is that, or am I confusing it with Savage Worlds?
Oh, we don't.
We
won't qualify for any of these talents yet.
Only the one. Yeah, this way I took the main ones, not the ones that are in your, at least for your first one. You have
Well,
to
no,
Yeah.
but for our second one that's related, like this new one that we just earned,
Yep.
you won't be able to take anything. Probably that's.
Oh,
So security has 2 that are requirements none. I can take one of those.
Oh, okay. There you go. So those.
oh, you mean for the requirements? For science, I could actually take any of them.
Which are you
But
looking at
that's
the?
because I put a whole shit ton into science.
You're looking at the engineer.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the engineering ones are
engineering.
all really high.
Yeah, they are.
Can't see here.
Like at minimum 3+.
Yeah.
But I could take mean right hook.
Yeah, and you could take the general talents as well too. Collaboration, cautious, dauntless.
I think I'm gonna take in the nick of time.
Nice.
When I succeed at engineering or science task as part of an extended task. Well, that's a whole bunch of qualifiers.
So
I gain
the
additional
what
work
you're
for
asking
every
about the ongoing task. So extended task, I think is what I was thinking of. There's a bunch of like if you have a job to do, they make use of basically it's like a damage chart. The way that the D20 games work in general is they have simultaneously both kind of like hit points, which are like you do enough damage to someone, then they start taking critical hits, and also if you happen to do 5 points of effect, whether it's a physical damage, mental damage, or whatever, you also get a critical hit effect as well. Depending on whether it's a physical effect or mental effect, it's a trauma or whatever. That's very much boiled down in this to be stress. Because it's more reflective of at the individual level, it's more reflective of how Star Trek is. And they also make use of that same structure, the idea of like if you can exhaust something and then be done a task, and you can also get different like successes to get such insights that you're able to get past it. You don't have to slog through the work. You're able to get a cheat way of getting through, like getting a critical success. Work is the hit points, is what you would think of as the hit points, and the effort is how much of an effect that you have on it. Is that right? So if you think of it like basically the way that they abstract it, and they don't do a great job of describing it, but it's effectively just like they imagine that you're working at a task like trying to solve a science problem or like diagnose a disease and find a cure, or like diagnose what's wrong with your engine and then reboot the warp engine. That's going to be a task, an extended task. There will be a certain amount of work that you can get done, and if you can just slog along and do that, and your effort, I believe, tells you how much work gets done. Yeah, so it's I'm doing a terrible job at, like, seeing it in play is a very, very easy thing. Basically what it means is that, like, there's 2 different ways to get to the end of success. You can roll your effects and try and, like, just slog through, get that work done because you just did a bunch of, you were successful and you're smart and you did a bunch of stuff on it. But if you happen to get 5 successes, or if you do 5 points of damage to the work, you also get a critical effect, which will make it, or potentially make it easier to get to the end of that. Yeah. So that's how that would relate to it. Yeah, that talent. What does it do? Does it increase the amount of work that you...
Yeah, so whenever you succeed at a engineering or science task as part of an extended task, you score 1 additional work for every effort rolled.
Okay. Are you saying... Is it effect, not effort? Effect.
Sorry, I don't have food in my mouth.
I think every effect
sorry.
roll... Yes, that makes more sense now, okay?
Roll,
Because I'm
yeah.
like, I don't know what effort is. What effect is... So, the way that damage dice work in this, so they call them challenge dice in Star Trek Adventures. They're damage dice, or whatever, in other... They're actually not called damage dice, but they work as damage dice. It's a D6. If you roll a 1, it counts as a 1. A 2 counts as a 2. 3 and 4 count as nothing. 5 and 6 count as 1 each, but you also get an effect. So it's a thing that sort of triggers. If you're using weapons in other games like Conan, it means that it's certain things that can trigger something specific about your particular weapon, like how piercing a spear can be, or how vicious a battle axe can be. What your talent would do is when you're rolling your damage, if you rolled a 5 or a 6, it effectively would count as a 2 instead of just being a 1, so you're getting more work. You're doing more damage effectively than what you would normally. So you're easier to make those insights. Has everyone selected their talent?
Yes.
I have both of them.
Yeah, I have both. Kev,
Yeah.
maybe it's just on my end, but you made the character rules reference sheets,
Character
right?
rules. Yes, I did.
The quick reference. It might just be me. When I open those, I'm getting additional character sheets.
Guess I'm a moron. Hold on, let me delete these.
Backup characters. Woo!
Yeah, exactly. You really are red shirts. Hold on, let me make sure I'm not. Yeah, okay.
And letting us be reckless. Reckless and
That's
dangerous.
hilarious.
It's Friday night, and I think judging by the conversations of the last few weeks, we're all having a bunch of weeks.
Oh my goodness! You know, it's one of the
So-
reasons why we decided to go with something, a little different. All right, let's try this again here. Second verse. Here we go. Character, reference, notes. Here we go. In everybody's
Second
thing.
verse, hopefully not same as the first.
Yeah. There we go. So there we go. You got a handout that's listed. Let me edit it. And duplicate here. Not delete, duplicate. 1, 2, 3. Yep, there we go. 3. All right. So in the handouts section, guys, you can find a bunch of... There's character reference notes and copy. You should be able to edit those and also add to them. And they're a handout this time, not an additional character sheet. So here's an example. Boom.
I hate to be that guy.
What'd you do?
I don't see
I'm
anything.
getting blank pages.
Yeah, that's for you to type stuff
You
in.
hit edit, you scroll down, and then under description and notes.
Okay.
Oh, and then I can just copy and paste everything into there. Right. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
I am with you.
Excellent. Okay, guys. So,
I'm turning senile in my approaching old age.
as you said, these last couple of weeks have been doozies. So, guys.
I'm not sure if it's not enough Kraken or too much Kraken. I didn't understand.
To how to... Oh, instant red shirt notes. There you go. You got them. Good. All right, so has everyone chosen... Are we up to the point where everyone's ready to enroll in Starfleet Academy?
I believe so.
All right, now here, guys... There are 3 tracks: your command track, operations track, or sciences track. You are free to roll this or select it. And I'm trying to see here. Yeah, so you might want to... you can obviously transfer out of one division into another division, but I think this stage is likely to have a pretty significant effect on your abilities. So if you do want to work towards a specific goal, then by all means select the one that you think would be appropriate. Or roll.
Right. So probably me and Dave are in operations track. George would be command track, and Andrew would be science track.
Probably,
I guess.
yeah. Okay. So then, let's open up George's character here. All right, so for his... there's nothing... Assignment. Rank, upbringing... We rolled George's upbringing, right? It was rural?
Yeah, he was frontier. Or whatever.
Right. Okay. All right. So,
Okay, so we have additional value.
yep.
Okay, hold on. George just said, now I might not make it as I spent the day with the producer, and I'm probably not in good condition to actuate a different game system.
Tell him
According
we're
to
not
the-
playing. We're just going through care gen. He's obviously, well, if he's not feeling up for it, that's,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, tell him we're even making his character as well, too. Okay, so guys, Then for those going into operations, you get a new value. You get to 3 points can be spent between 2 or 3 attributes. It's interesting you're not set, whatever department you go or whatever track you go into, it doesn't require you to take certain disciplines or certain... Oh, it does for the disciplines, but not for the attributes. So, for operations, you guys get to increase... I'm on page 117. You can increase 2 attributes where one gets +1, one gets +2, or you can increase 3 by +1. And then for the operations, you must select engineering or security as your major. That will be increased by 2, and then you select 2 other disciplines that are each increased by 1, and none of them can be higher than 4. And then for sciences, it's basically the exact same thing with attributes. And then it's either sciences or medicine as your major, which goes up by 2, and then you select 2 other disciplines that each go up by 1, but none of those can be higher than 4 to start. And then once you do that, then you get 3 focuses. And another talent. So you guys are making your selections here.
So single value. So one more value.
I want to put his presence up by 2. And we'll put his daring up by 1. Gains of value. Did you guys gain a value at the upbringing stage as well? No.
Yeah. Wait, no. Just to...
I only have 1 value so
right.
far.
Okay.
We get a second one in the first part of the operations track. That's the first thing we get with value.
Academy value, I'll put down here. Then disciplines, either command or con. Command is up to 3.
We get a value from our species?
Say again?
We get a value from our species or from...
I don't think so. You got a trait from your species. I don't think you get a value from them. No.
Oh, you got a value is upbringing then, because I got one from No Stranger to Violence.
Value from environment.
Environment, sorry.
Yeah, okay, so your next value will come from here. Then, 2 other ones by 1. Let's raise medicine to 3 and con or engineering to 2. Okay. Or there we go, sciences to 2. Then I was going to toss ones in from here.
Oh, it's important to note. A character may not have any discipline. I know you said this. It may not have any discipline higher than 4 at this stage.
Yes.
I already had science 3, and it said that your major goes up by 2, but that would take me over the 4, so I can only give it 1.
How did you have science 3 already?
Because it had said, where was it?
So you get +1 from your home world, which put it at 2.
Right.
And then Starfleet. And then it could go up by 1 more from Starfleet. So yeah, he could have gone up to 3.
Yeah, I dumped everything into that. But now this is awkward because I can't.
Well, you should be. No. You can put. This is the bump.
This is the bump from 2 to 3 right now.
Yeah. So what you could do is you could put 2 into science, and then put 1 into medicine, and then 1 into something else. Because it doesn't say that you can't select the one you don't like. If you select, what do you call it? Because your medicine is at what, 1 right now, or 3? You said. Or science is at 3.
Science is at 3. Medicine is at 1.
So you could select for your sciences track. You could put 2 points into science, put it at 3, and then you got 2 ones that you can select at 1. One of those could go to medicine, or I'm sorry, to science, to bump it up to 4, and then you can put 1 into something else.
Okay, I must have screwed something up then, because like before we do any of the Starfleet track stuff, I was already at Science 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you could put the 2 that you have to select of either sciences or medicine. You could put that 2 into medicine.
And then only use 1 point in your engineering. Or in your science.
Yeah. And then you use one of the... Because you got 2 other ones that you can raise by 1. Use one of those...
Okay.
It's like the idea that your guy was so good at science when he arrived at Starfleet that he didn't need to major in science. He got to major in medicine.
Yeah.
And only take science as one of his minors because he was already that far along. Right?
And then your selection of your focuses, that's the thing that would... like, if you want them to more be in science, those are the things that are going to reflect the expertise that you've got.
Fair. Or he double majored, but he just didn't actually gain anything in science.
Yeah, he was already... Yeah. This
Didn't
rudimentary
learn
stuff.
anything.
It's a good thing that you're not a Tellarite. You'd be having a word with your professors.
A good thing I'm not a Vulcan. I'd be arrogant as...
And now what about attributes? Like, I feel like this one's a real good choice of where to start placing my points, but I have no idea.
So,
Like, should I spread them around? Should I pile something up?
what is it? I would select what is it? Your engineering, right?
Yeah, I'm the engineer.
Okay, so what I can tell you, at least, they're pretty flexible. For
Yeah, that's what I kind of remember, and I just don't remember if I'm better to like make sure I'm pretty even or get one.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Let me take a look at the stuff. Oh, you know what? Hold on, I'll grab my. Yes. These are the handouts that come with the screen, and they give you the rules summary for each different station. So, let's see here. In Starship Combat, if you are a engineering officer, helmet navigation, sensors and internal systems. So things like power management, for instance, is daring or control plus engineering. Regenerating shields is control plus engineering. Damage control, trying to get damage control teams in place, is presence plus engineering. Transporters is control plus engineering. So a lot of the stuff is control. Scan for weakness is control plus sciences. Sensor sweep is reason plus sciences. So a lot of those ones will be more appropriate for the conflict spend, for the excuse me, the engineering. Whereas for like security, presence is deploying security because you're going to be in control security teams. Firing weapon is control plus security. Modulating shields is control plus security. But then things like, you know, jumping out and beating the bejesus out of people, that's daring.
I've got pretty high daring, fitness, and presence.
Yeah, daring is hand-to-hand. Control is so daring plus security is melee. Range plus is control plus security. So that'll help. And then for sciences, where's the sciences station? What's communications? Those are like one of the things that's nice about the game is your characters end up being pretty omnicompetent. Like you're pretty great at a lot of different things. That's why you've got such broad categories for different things. You're expected to be hyper competent. You're not like one of the things that's been a problem with some of the previous editions of the Star Trek RPGs has been that your characters, because they designed the game like in every other RPG, your characters are expected to get experienced. So you start off with what one reviewer described as the McHale's Navy of Starfleet. So you're like bumbling boobs who have difficulty, you know, doing basic tasks, or you fail more often than you should. This is not that kind of game. So does that help in selecting your what you're going to do, guys?
I think so.
Like, yep. Reason obviously is going to be an important task for Andrew, for your character. Insight is also probably going to be helpful because like insight would be to gain, you know, different. I'm trying to use a word other than insight to describe insight. Like there is a in the task resolution. It's hard, right? He's good.
It's like when your boss asks you about something and you just like paraphrase it or you do a reverse of it. It's like, well, it's when you're not doing this.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's obvious. Starfleet value.
Insight. Where are we here? All right, here we go. That's combat. So you're beating the bejesus out of things. When you are studying scientific tasks, because the scientific method is one big part of the the more sciencey and sci-fi heavy episodes of Star Trek. You're often using insight and science in those, so that'll be something you'll want to increase as well. So does that help you guys kind of with what attributes to value up other than others? Yes, no. Yep. Okay. What did you guys end up with?
All right. So for my value, I selected trust the ship, and the idea there is it's actually a little deeper. It's actually trust the engineers that built the genius of all the engineers piled up over time that have led to this starship. So like basically how all of us are, it's the whole, bootstrapping of all the technology. So trust the ship, trust the engineers that have come before.
Love it.
For his focuses, for his attributes, I increased control by 2 and reason by 1.
Okay.
Disciplines, I did engineering by 2, security by 1, and con by 1.
Okay.
My focus is, so I already had Starship engines. I've now added computers, transporters and replicators, and life support systems.
Nice.
And for my, what's the other thing called? Oh, my talent is, I know my ship. Whenever you attempt a task to determine the source of a technical problem with your ship, roll 1 additional d20.
Oh, nice. Awesome. What about Andrew or Dave? What'd you guys learn in this phase?
So I went with. Okay, so let's see. Start from the top. So talent first.
Your value.
My value. I took inexperienced and idealistic. So we'll see how that plays out.
Okay.
I added 2 points to security and 1 to command and 1 to con. So actually, I have a 3 command and a 3 security now because I got a +1 command earlier. And then for attributes, I think I added to fitness and presence.
Okay.
And daring.
Nice.
And then my talent, I took quick to action to go ahead with. So my other talents, I don't think we talked about them before, but I took proud and honorable, which is the Andorian trait. And my notes page disappeared. Where'd my notes page go? Oh, don't close. Roll 20. No. So yeah, proud and honorable, and then I took dauntless from the general during an earlier phase, and this time I took quick to action. So gives us a bonus on the onset of initiative.
Nice. How about you, Andrew?
I for value this time I went precise to a fault.
Nice. Cool.
For the disciplines, we already talked about that. I put 2 in medicine and 1 in science. Attributes.
Oh, you should have had. You had one more point to assign as well, because you get 2 to one of your to one of the disciplines, and then 1 to 2 other ones.
To two other ones.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, so you can raise one more of those.
I'll dump one into command. Why not?
Okay, nice.
That random elective I took.
Yeah.
For attributes, I'm kind of all over the board because I don't know why, but originally I put a bunch into control. So I put one more into there, so I'm at, or no, actually I didn't do this round. I'm at 10 for control, but I have added this round. I've added a bunch to reason, so 9 to reason.
Okay.
And then I have 8 insight because I added the last one to insight.
Nice. And then what about your talent?
The talents, yes. Where did I put? This. So I took Resolute and Nick of Time for the first 2, and this one now I took Testing a Theory, which I should probably copy and paste and put into the notes. But I essentially, if I have previously succeeded on a particular challenge or task, I think I can add an additional. I can roll an additional d20.
Oh, okay. Nice. All right. So then, those are always good. Those ones that give you an extra d20 to your rolls, because then you don't need to get momentum or give me conflict. So the next stage, guys, is your career. So you have to make a choice about your character. Is the character a young officer, fresh out of the academy, with their whole career ahead of them? Or are they... have they served in Starfleet for several years, or are they a veteran with decades of experience? What do you think? I mean, the answer, I think, is clear for good old Ensign Redshirt. The way you've been describing him or her.
Straight out of academy.
What about... oh, we got a name already. Look at that. Turkorg. Turkorg, a wet behind the ears junior officer, an experienced officer, or a veteran officer?
Let's go with the middle one.
Okay.
Like he's experienced.
Experienced officer. And what about your character, Andrew?
Oh.
Young officer, experienced, or veteran?
I mean, I kind of thought I was going to do experienced. Receives a single talent. Receives a value. Okay.
They're all the same. It's just how you're selecting those things. Like,
so this is more like adding character to the character.
And then the difference is with the talent. If you're a young officer, you gain untapped potential, which means you may not have or increase any attribute above 11 or any discipline above 4 when you start. However, whenever you succeed in a task for which you bought 1 or more additional dice with momentum or threat, you roll 1 challenge dice, and the character receives bonus momentum equal to the roll of the challenge dice, and adds 1 point to threat if an effect is rolled. So it's the sort of Wesley effect of, you might get a crazy breakthrough, but you also might, trap the ship in a subspace bubble. And then what veteran is sort of the other side. Whenever you spend a point of determination, you roll a challenge dice, and if an effect is rolled, you immediately regain that point of determination. So you're just, seasoned. And then the veteran officer, just instead of getting one of those 2 talents, you get to select your talent. What are you guys thinking? And we don't need to have like one from each. You guys, this is more where you see your character starting off.
What? Uh-oh.
I was looking at using a name generator to create a character name, and I came up with a silly idea. I'll probably have to overtype it, but name is Roll the Dice again.
I've already laid claim to when I get to play in a sci-fi game with the name Zap Starfuck, so...
Oh, no. You know what? forget it. Why not? We each have some variety. One of us takes each of the different tiers. I'll go veteran.
Okay,
and,
nice.
Like maybe that's where I got. Well, no, I got it at Starfleet Academy, but like, I don't know. Maybe
Sure.
I've doubled down now on that like precision.
Yeah.
And
so
it's
then
become anal retentiveness now.
you guys will get a you select a value that is reflective of what you're either reflective of your inexperience or naivete. Your value can be pretty much anything for your character, Jeff, and then for yours, Andrew, it's reflective of the years of experience. And then you will get the talent veteran, and Ensign, as yet unnamed redshirt, will be getting untapped potential. And Jeffrey, you can take whatever one you like.
Just trying to think of another value.
Sure. And then. Ooh, then we're doing 2 career-defining events. There are example values on the second page over, too, on page 119, 119, if you want to...
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's more... That's good.
You may also roll more than twice for your career events. In this case, you can mix and match the benefits for each, but you can never gain any more than 2 attribute increases, 2 discipline increases, and 2 focuses. So if you want, like for your character, Andrew, if you want to roll a little more backstory to your character and give a little more variety for what you can choose from, you can do that. But we need a minimum of 2, though. So, Jeffrey, did you pick another talent?
I didn't pick a talent yet. I was just picking my value. I think my value is going to be something along the lines of like tightens every bolt, or something like that. Like,
Yep. Okay. What about Dave or Andrew? You guys got value for your characters?
I'll pick a talent.
I went with nothing better than practical experience, which is a much nicer way of writing what I was thinking, which is what the hell you learn from your mistakes.
Yep. Nice. How about you, Andrew?
There's a whole. So when Dave spoke, I was like, well, where's that? There's a whole nother page of example values that I missed.
Yeah.
Shoot. Okay. Okay. You know what? This is funny because it's just doubly. I was gonna go with always prepared, always vigilant, which kind of makes sense as well. But I think meticulous scrutiny and pride in his or her work
Nice.
just fits with the earlier precise to a fault. It's like now he's really just become crotchety.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not crotchety, but like I don't know.
What about George's character?
I haven't. So did George say he's going to join, or is he?
Now he sounds like he might join. I don't know.
Oh, fantastic. Well, then let's do this.
Maybe he got scared by having to do a whole bunch of work.
No. We. So what do we think with? I've got George's stuff done. I don't have I've selected his Starfleet Academy value yet. What do you think? Young, experienced, or veteran officer for George?
I think he's experienced.
Experienced? Yeah, I buy that. So let's put down Starfleet career value.
No Christopher Pike, but he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and then he needs one more talent. Talent. What's these? Talent 3. Starfleet Academy, and talent 4 is Starfleet career. Alrighty. So then, guys.
Okay, I picked my talent.
Oh yeah, what'd you select?
Intense scrutiny.
Sweetie.
It is an engineering one. Whenever you succeed at a task using reason or control as part of an extended task, you may ignore up to 2 resistance for every effect rolled.
Oh, Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Resistance is like armor in those tasks. That's pretty great.
Nice.
All right. So then, guys, career event. Have you guys selected your values from your career?
Yes.
Yes.
Nothing better than practical experience.
Oh yeah, we already went through that. All right, so then why don't we do one by one here, guys? You need to do a minimum of 2 each. Ensign Redshirt, would you kindly give us a D20 roll?
Roll.
Rawl is your character's name?
Yep.
Nice.
From the random Andorian name generator.
Anna has just pushed herself into the Borg cube, so she approves of that. Sweetie. You like that? All
So
right.
D20?
Please, yeah. 13. Called out a superior.
Oh, you bugger.
Character was placed in a situation where they had to choose between a trusted superior and their own ideals, and chose to follow their ideals. Things to consider. Who was the superior? What did they ask the character to do? How does the character feel now? And what were the repercussions of this? Are the details of this event on record? And was the character right?
Ooh, this is a fun part. Now.
Mm-hmm. So the increase, and especially that you're the junior officer too. So you get to increase your reason by 1, your con by 1. The legal proceedings that followed gave the character greater insight into Starfleet protocol. Increase con by 1.
That's awesome.
And then you gain a focus reflecting the event and its aftermath. Examples include Uniform Code of Justice, History, or Starfleet Protocol.
Why don't we each roll and then we'll go back?
Yeah, and then we'll go back and hear
Dave
it. Yeah.
tell what he decided. Yeah, so we can think
Absolutely,
about
I
it.
love that. Jeffrey, give us a D6 roll. And then what I'll do too is we'll go through, and then we'll go the reverse order afterwards. So that way you're not just, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff,
It's a D20, right?
please, yeah.
Ooh.
An 11, dealing with a plague.
Oh,
The
cool.
character's starship was assigned to provide aid to a world dealing with an epidemic. What was the disease that was running rampant? What planet it was affecting? Did the character deal directly with the sick? And how was the character involved? You gain +1 to your insight. You gain +1 to your medicine. And you gain a focus which should reflect how they helped during the crisis. Examples include infectious diseases, emergency medicine, or triage. Mm-hmm. Oh, and how about Torsten?
All right. Let's see. We'll leave it to 16.
Discovered an artifact.
How fitting. How fitting.
During a survey mission, the character discovered a device or fragment of technology from a now extinct civilization. Iconian Gateway! Iconian Gateway! What did this piece of technology do? Does it still function now? And what is known about the civilization that made it?
Ooh.
And you will get the technology produced numerous theories, increasing your reason by 1 and increasing your engineering by 1. And you gain a focus related to the event and its aftermath. Examples include ancient technology, computers, or reverse engineering. Dave, can you tell us about this event when you were called out by a superior?
Well, it's funny when I was reading through the questions, all I could think of was Johnny Rizzo. I was like, I did something because I really wanted to win, and it was like not safe or whatever.
Yeah, yep.
And so then there was like a safety protocol litigation thing, and I had to vouch for why I had to do it and what I was gonna help our team and that kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
So I'm thinking, it was like some kind of a test, and my character wouldn't break the rules, but didn't follow the protocols.
Okay.
He was the superior. I'll have to figure that out. I'll say it was an instructor at the academy.
Well, this is during your career when this would have happened, so it would have been when you were an ensign. So it could have been like a lieutenant, or
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yep.
This isn't in the academy. This is now we're out in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lieutenant, and they were from a different branch. So maybe, actually, maybe it was something with medical, because I don't know much about medical. So,
Okay.
what did they ask the character to do? So they asked me to take somebody to sick bay, but we needed them like in the field, and I delayed that, and it ended up costing somebody like an arm or something.
Okay. All right. And then, let's see here. What were the repercussions? This delay your advancement? Do you have a crewmate? Were you transferred because as a result of this?
Yeah, the crewmate had to take on like a lighter duty role, and it set my career back.
Okay. I think
I'm still pretty young though, so maybe that's not setting my career back.
Maybe just transferred.
Yeah, I got transferred to a different ship.
Yeah.
The captain, they wouldn't trust me or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So somebody had to bend the rules to keep me in Starfleet because of basically.
Yeah. Well, I think both of you guys grew up in Starfleet too, right? Or were you the one? No, you're the one with the artistic family.
Yeah.
Right. Oh shit. So you don't have people you could call on necessarily. Someone called on you. That's interesting.
I was forced to transfer, otherwise give up Starfleet.
Wow. All right. Jeffrey, tell us about this plague.
Yeah. So, tried to think of it a little bit like an episode of Star Trek.
Yep.
So the disease was a rusting disease that was affecting both the metal items and the people, and so it was sort of spreading and destroying their systems. But it was also like once you got it on your skin, it would sort of cover you, and once you were covered, it's like that turned to statue, sort of like you're frozen, you're totally rusted. As it affects your arm, you can't move your arm, and then people were getting completely covered. And my character was involved because our ship was sent there to help with this, and some of this rust disease made it back onto the ship and was affecting our ship systems.
Yep.
And our engineering team was able to isolate it and found a way of reversing it. And then that information of how to reverse it was basically shared with the medical team, and we were able to bring it down to the planet and reverse it on the planet and save the people.
Love it.
And I'm thinking the planet that it affected was maybe my homeworld, the Tellarite homeworld.
Oh wow. Let's make it one of the. That's a culturally shifting thing. Then it is less. I think it'd be less critical on the frontier.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
it'd be a frontier planet. Yeah, like something that they've never. Sure.
Yeah, like this is especially in this phase of history. This is when you get Starfleet is all about. You got these brand new warp engines that get you a lot further. You're going and finding all sorts of crazy stuff, and then we don't have to deal with the repercussions of having the metal plague on Tellarite.
Right.
Yeah, love it.
And the focus he gained was infectious diseases.
Interesting. Okay. What was the focus that Raoul got?
Starfleet protocol.
Boning up on those things. Nice.
Well, because there was this very specific piece in the Starfleet protocol that even though I cost one person,
yep,
some of their body, and then they had to leave Starfleet or go to a lighter duty, maybe like a desk job. That actually ended up saving the ship. So while it was really bad, it also was for the greater good.
Yep.
And well, my protocol kept me from getting out.
Excellent. And then Torsten, what's this artifact you found?
I don't know, guys. Those were really good. You guys just came up with. The pressure's on now. I don't know. I thought about there was a couple things. Either some weird scanning device that was picking up food trail pheromones and was designed to deter, because there was maybe the flora on this planet was really weird, and there was there was a number of plants that were almost indistinguishable except by using this particular scanner, which could detect the specific food pheromones that one plant gave off that was edible. The others were poisonous. Or maybe it was the ruins of an ancient civilization, clearly, but it was weird because the ruins depicted or suggested rather a civilization that was at best medieval in terms of its technology, and yet had this artifact, but it was really more of an artistic installation that depicted that had diagrams that depicted a solar system and suggested that they understood about space travel.
Okay.
So some weird, very clearly dissonant kind of ideas going on here.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah,
to
because
combine
I'm lost.
those two things. How about this? What if they do encounter some kind of weird, pseudo, medieval thing? It's inhabited by all these people who seem to be going through the motions and whatnot, but they also seem to oddly break character, as it were, like a space or a planetary Ren fair. They also break character sometimes.
Very TOS, yes.
And then what the twist is that once you started examining, there was something very weird about these people, and you realize that their receptors for pheromones are incredibly overdeveloped, and their mental faculties are insanely underdeveloped. And the twist is the technology is these things are biological, basically robots for plants that are intelligent that give off pheromones.
The people we met.
All the people you met were just
constructs.
Yep, they were basically robot or drones of trees. And the reason they took the form is because at some point during space exploration, a person who happened to love King Arthur, read Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court, crashed on the planet. They took the humanoid form. They took that King Arthur's Court that is presented in that book, but also has the reason for breaking character.
Oh, yeah. That's so the plants themselves are the actual intelligent life on the planet.
Exactly. And
this is a cover.
Exactly. And all the people you met and whatnot, they were all just drones of a stand of hyper-intelligent trees.
Awesome.
So, and maybe the technology you could have is just the amount of insight into biological construction, because the way they would have built these robot drones, right, would have been fairly not robots.
Oh, sure. The people we met were the ancient artifact themselves. That's yeah. Okay.
That's also a nice, very TOS heavy-handed environmentalism message. We need to respect the trees.
100%.
Yeah, see?
100%.
Yeah. All right, so let's do this, guys. Dave, why don't you give me a D20 roll? Let's see about George's guy's first career event.
Dun, 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 dun.
10. Transporter accident. That's never good. Character suffered some manner of strange accident while using a transporter. What happened to the character during the accident? Were there any lasting repercussions? And how does the character feel about transporters now? Ooh. So we could do that traditional, McCoy thing of being just does not trust transporters at all.
That's really, really good reason.
With good reason, yeah. Or we could do the weird, like, going to the mirror universe thing, or there's a duplicate of you made, or you're made into children. Like, the transporters have all sorts of crazy stuff that happens to you with them. What do you guys think?
Oh, what if when he rematerialized, like, part of his clothing was, like, now part of his skin? So he, like, has, like, his left pant leg is if he takes his actual pants off, he's got an old left pant leg from a previous transporter accident.
Well, think of it. I think the good way to think of it is in terms of the structuring it like an episode, because then, like, and what's the fusing with the things that your clothes is that's horrific. But how is that? What's the sort of arc that comes from the story from that?
Right.
He doesn't want to carry anything that's dangerous with him when he's transporting anymore, because he's worried that if it happens again, and he's got, like, a phaser now implanted to make it blow up. Or
well, I mean, that's these are very dark, Dave. We're getting some good insight into your creativity here.
What are you talking about?
So let's take that. But what if
cracking?
Yeah, what if what if it was, like you said, not that they were embedded in him, but it destabilized technology? What if they'd, like, say, transported down, one time in a, I don't know, challenging thing, and then all the technology got fucked? So communicators got destroyed, the transporters got destroyed, and because of that, they were trapped on this planet because it was difficult transporting down, and they didn't realize it when they first engaged it. I'm looking at the focuses he gets from that. There's, like, transporters and replicators, small craft, which he actually already has, or quantum mechanics. And maybe there was some kind of, like, him being the story of the hero of the story, he needed to come up with some, some way to engineer his way out of this, and that's how they escape the planet.
Right. What if his focus is more like a little bit like the one he started with, but, like, maybe more so, like, makeshift communicator, or, like, makeshift like that kind of idea. Yeah.
Jury rigging. Maybe. Yeah.
He's our MacGyver in the group, because he was forced to learn stuff on the fly.
And actually,
right, I like that. Yeah.
It also plays back to his childhood too, right? Because he grew up on a rural planet.
Right. Exactly. Wow. That's how he was ready to. He used his other focus, like you gave him there, of, like, do without or make do.
Yeah.
In order to actually get beamed back, they had to create something so the ship could lock onto them, or some kind of.
So why don't we do this, guys? Let's roll everyone's next career event. Then we'll take our mid-session break, refill our beverages, go to the washroom, whatnot, and then we'll come back and hear about what they are.
Cool.
Okay. So, guys, let's go reverse order this time. Andrew, you're up first here. 14. New battle strategy.
Oh.
In combat with a hostile force, the character devised a new strategy or tactic. Who was the battle against? Was it in space or on the ground? And what was the strategy devised? Your daring will go up by 1, your security will go up by 1, and you gain a new focus as well, too. And you can definitely lean into the science aspect. There's lots of times where, especially in original series, where Spock sciences the shit out of stuff to get them out of things, right?
Totally.
And then Jeffrey?
Yeah, here we go. D20.
3.
Oh.
Lauded by another culture. Character was involved in a mission that earned the praise of a non-Federation culture. They are now considered to be a friend to that people. What culture was aided by this mission? What was the mission? Why was it particularly praiseworthy? And does the character have any friends or contacts in that culture who can be contacted for help? You gain a +1 to your presence and +1 to your science.
Nice.
Yep. Oh, interesting. And then you also get a trait, which should be a good example would be friend to the X and whatever. So that's interesting. And then Rao. An 8. Conflict with a hostile culture.
It's my whole upbringing.
Yeah, really. Character was involved in a major battle with a hostile force and is unlikely to forget the experience. Who was the enemy in this battle? Why did the battle occur? Was it fought in space or the ground or both? What did the character have to do to survive? Was the battle won or lost? The character needs to be tough to survive in battle, so you increase your fitness by 1, your security by 1, and you gain a focus, which would be reflective of the skills you gain. This is really, like, right in your wheelhouse, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's unreal, actually.
Okay.
But I grew up on Jeff's planet. So do they have any sort of natural enemies or?
So the main enemies in this, the Klingons obviously are an enemy during this period. The Romulans, depending on whether we're setting this before, it's not called. I don't think it's Balance of Terror. It might be. I can't remember what episode the Romulans first appear. I'm sure someone in chat will tell me.
This is career. This is career. This is not development, right?
Yeah. This is during your career.
Could be anyone.
Yeah, it could have been anyone. And the only reason I mentioned the Romulans because they weren't. There was a war fought with the Romulans shortly after the time period from the Enterprise series, but during that time they never saw the Romulans, and the treaty was negotiated over subspace radio. So they had no idea what the Romulans looked like until that episode where the Enterprise first encounters them, and they realize, holy shit, they look like Vulcans.
Yeah, this is. I looked it up quick. There have been no visual communications yet by this point, and so this is the first time the races had seen each other. So not quite like first encounter, but first.
What was the episode
visual.
called? Was it Balance of Terror? Or was
it is Balance of Terror. Yeah.
Fuck! Look at that! I told you, useless shit. It's full of nothing but bullshit Star Trek stuff. All right, so then, guys, let's take our mid-session
Such a
break.
great episode, though.
It is a terrific episode.
Like,
agreed.
Total like Cold War, like eat your heart out, hunt for the Red October.
Exactly.
You know, like whatever, buddy. Like we did this 30 years ago, and it was better.
All right, so we'll be back in about 5 minutes, folks. Just going to refresh our beverages, hit the head, and then use a little nautical term there, and then we'll be back to see what these next events mean. All right. So let's check in. Howdy, everyone in chat. Oh, how much math is in Star Trek Adventures? Really, not much. No, there. Oh, let's see. Brian, evening. Yeah. So, Mark II. What is that? MO. Mikezi. Not much math. No, it's they really like all the task resolution and damage stuff like that. Really, just there's some very simple arithmetic when you're doing effects, but otherwise, all task resolution is rolling a number of d20s and trying to roll under the combined amount of two stat or a discipline and an attribute. So it's pretty math light. What's going on? I love this game. Yeah, me too. Sean, for real. Nice. Excellent. Okay. So, I don't think I... So for George's character, his event was what? Oh, it was a transporter accident, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right, we did that. Okay, so his character is good to go. The Denobulan command guy. Pretty evocative character generation, eh?
I like it.
So I already have hand phasers and hand-to-hand combat. So the only focus I'll be able to get out of this is shipboard tactical systems, which also works really well.
Yeah.
So
Well, those are always just examples, though, Dave. You can make up a different one.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It just needs to be connected with the event is all.
Well, that had me thinking about like a ship-to-ship battle that didn't go so well and took some fandangling in order to help us survive.
Nice.
And since the Klingons have some pretty fantastic technology in this era.
Yep, they are badass mamma jammas for sure. All right. Let's see. What am I'm trying to remember what you guys... so you're front of battle, and then... Oh, a new battle strategy, right? For Torsten. And... Turkor, what was yours again? Oh, friend to lauded by another culture.
Yeah, lauded by another culture.
Yeah.
Now, this is something we could maybe talk about while we're waiting.
Yep.
I don't know what culture to choose, because... Do we just make it up?
Yeah, you can make it up. Like this period, the Enterprise was going to a new, planet, seemingly every second episode, meaning new cultures. So you could be
all of which looked exactly like them. But hey,
yes. But yeah, you could, or you could make it one of the other. You could have been a friend to Vulcans, right? They may. Maybe
except they're it says specifically non-Federation culture.
Oh, non-Federation. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to go with canon things like the Bolians are not part of the Federation yet. There's a lot of those species that are from the Next Generation that aren't part of that first contact would have occurred at some point during this period.
Well, I'll just make it up because I think my idea for the thing makes it so it should be like something unique.
Sure, yeah. Works for me. Okay, so then Andrew, yours was the battle strategy, new battle strategy. Who was the battle against? Was it in space or on the ground, and what was the strategy devised?
Oh, I forgot who it was against. I mean, whatever. Klingons, that's easy at this time period.
Yep.
Damn, yeah,
Klingons.
that's part. Sorry, it took me a while to get back because I checked in with the with the wife.
Yep.
But also because I'm like, shit, I can't do 2 rounds with not having any ideas.
Well, here's the thing.
Not good at this, guys.
Other species that are belligerent during this period are the Gorn, the Tholians, the Romulans.
The Tholians are interesting. They're the ones with like the nets, the space.
Yes.
They'll make the space. Yeah, why not them?
Sure.
Because okay, maybe this will work. Because I was really intrigued by it says the character gains a focus reflecting blah blah blah, and one of them is hazard awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tholians' entire battle strategy relies on controlling the battle environment.
Yep.
Right. And I keep having this flashback to like Batman Begins, where Ra's al Ghul tells Bruce Wayne, like, you're always forgetting to pay attention to your surroundings, and that is your downfall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in the course of we were in this battle, and as they were trying to establish their nets, and we knew what was happening, but we didn't think we were trapped between a nebula and that net. I was analyzing the nebula and realized that there's a particular compound in there that if it was, I had a theory that if it was somehow affected by a beam that our ship could produce, it would hinder, the nets could not penetrate the nebula, but we could adjust our shield harmonics just so that we would be able to gain ourselves a 30-second window to jump through that not jump, but go through the nebula. Yep. It wouldn't be risk-free, but it was that or be trapped.
Yeah. No, I love it. That's great. And it's also great because it doesn't break any of the established, like, it sounds like it was a very situational thing, and it makes your character look awesome, and it's not something that invalidates you wouldn't constantly crack that out as like the go-to thing against the Tholian net. So
I don't want it to be like a get out of jail free card.
No, that's great.
That would break canon. So
that's fantastic. That's great. Okay, cool. So then, what do you think is your focus then? Is it hazard awareness?
Definitely hazard awareness. That became part of my always watch your surroundings, always be looking for, because your enemy may not be paying attention, and if you can turn the environment against them, or at least to your benefit. You might have that ace in the hole.
It also feels like something that would come with experience as well. So it makes sense that your character's
I was also thinking, like, this is the veteran, like, maybe this was where he kind of, started making a name for himself or whatever, like, he started getting recognized.
Love it. Jeffrey, what about Turcogs? Who is his friends?
Okay, so I'm going to name them the Emodians.
Okay.
And what happened was, it was a culture that obviously they're spacefaring, but they had reached a point in their culture where all of their branches of I don't know, what do you call them, like not just science, but like engineering, everybody was advancing sort of in their own tower, and they had stopped like intercommunicating. So like all the engineers were just focused on engineering. They wouldn't talk to the scientists. The biologists wouldn't talk to the physicists. Like they had all sort of built their own tower of technology and learning. And so they had sort of isolated themselves, and their engineers had built a spaceship, and they were, launched it into space, and there was some kind of a call for assistance, and so that's why we came to rescue them, lost in space or whatever. And during their returning them to their planet with their, ship in tow, they experienced the culture on Starfleet and how all of our departments work together. And they saw Tercog using science to solve their engineering issues with their ship, and it sort of taught them that it's better to all work together and not have these sort of towers of isolated bits of their culture. And so
the thing that's cool about that too is that, like, for one, you can imagine how massive the ship would have had to have been and how many people would have been on there. If everyone's got hyper specialization, you need right? Like I'm specialized in plasma flow, but I'm in the gauge of 2 millimeters up until 6 millimeters. You're going to want to talk to the guy who's in the 7 millimeters to 12 millimeter range, because I can help you with that.
Right. Totally.
And it may have also been like what may have started as just like trying to hyper specialize. It may have ended up being ritualized in a way as well. So they may not have even recognized that.
Right. It's almost like became religious or whatever for them. Like,
yeah. I'm stealing that idea from BattleTech, because there's an organization called Comstar that sort of like fetishizes and religiousizes the operation of like faster than light communication.
Right.
And it's the same type of thing where, like, you have people who are hyper specialized. They've been trained for repeating the same task. So that's cool. That also seems like you would have a massive cultural shift to that, what do you call that culture? Not only because of first contact, but also because of their breaking down of those barriers and whatnot. So they may actually
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's not that the engineers wouldn't have some level of science or medicine or whatnot, because there was a point when the sort of society broke off. So, you come on board though, and it's like, what do you mean you don't have a doctor on board the ship? Oh no, doctors don't. They would never.
Yeah.
Come on the engineer's ship. They might be working on their own technology, but we don't know anything about that.
That's
right?
awesome.
Like,
Which focus did you take?
So the focus. Do I get a focus for that?
Yeah, it's
Oh right, it's So it's like focus of culture X. So it's like
What'd you call it? Emodiums?
Yeah, the Emodians.
Emodian culture. Okay, cool. You also get the Emodian friend to the Emodians as a trait as well. All right. And Dave, our battle-hardened member. What about Rao? What do you think? What was the conflict with a hostile culture? Who was the enemy in this battle?
Well, unfortunately, it was 2 Klingon birds of prey that sprung out on us.
Ooh.
And they were cloaked, and they knocked out our warp drive right away.
So, time period, the bird of prey isn't going to be introduced for about another maybe 15 years. Right, because the bird of prey comes from a technological exchange between the Romulans and the Klingons. The bird of prey, the vessel is called a bird of prey, is a Romulan ship at this point. And there's the D7.
What's the Klingon?
It's just a Klingon warbird.
It's either called a D7 or a Katinga class. Katinga is really technically from the movie era. The D7 is the classic original series ship.
So really, they knock out the warp drive, and while engineering's trying to get the drives back online, and we're trying to keep the ship.
Sorry, Dave, I don't mean to keep interrupting, but because I don't want it to take away something from you, there is, in the original series, you do see a Romulan ship that's effectively a repainted D7. So there is, or D9. D7? D7. So there is exchange of technology during this period. So there could have been an experimental, maybe some Klingons fucking attacked a Romulan ship and stole a cloak.
Perhaps. So that part wasn't quite as important as so much that while we were trying to get our drives back online and keeping the shields operable, basically trying to stay alive until we could figure out a solution. Roll was like remembered something about Klingon tactics and ran down to the con and helped them targeting the photon torpedoes. Looking at immediately mapping out where the Klingon photon torpedoes were departing from. And using kind of a triangulation, some ship tactics to fire back, and we got lucky. Got a lucky shot off that.
That's awesome. And then your
So ship tactical systems, shipboard tactical systems is what I took.
Love it. Okay. Then. Let's see here.
Was there one from the first one?
There a focus from the first one? There should have been, yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Called out a superior. I didn't take one. Oh yeah, Starfleet Protocol. That was mine.
D7. I said D9. It's a D7. D7 in the Katinga. Katinga is the refitted version of the D7, just like the Enterprise class is a refitted Constitution. Okay, so I think, guys, we've got our things. Now, Torsten, technically, you're free to take as many other ones, and you can kind of pick and choose which bonuses you get from yours.
Do we need to do a second one for George's guy?
We do need a second one for George's one. Yeah, would you give us a D20 roll there? 12. Betrayed ideals for a superior. Ooh.
Ooh.
The character was placed in a situation where they had to choose between a trusted superior and their own ideals, and chose to follow the superior. Who was the superior? What did they ask the character to do? How does the character feel now? What were the repercussions of this? Are the details of this event on record, and was the character right? So, he learned a lot, including how to command people, so he gets a... What's going on?
What if this was like, what if he was like the first officer or whatever at this point, and the captain, it was the captain that he had to betray his ideals for?
Yeah. Okay.
Either the former captain, if we do end up using these characters, and, this guy we're making ends up the captain of the ship. I don't know if that's something...
Yeah, because
you're thinking, Kev, or if you want the captain to be a NPC.
No, I'm not fussed one way or the other, to be honest. The one of the things so the focuses he gets from it are persuasion, inspiration, or investigation. And like in the original series, there's lots of examples of captains who cracked under the pressure. Like the guy, I can't remember what his name is, but it's the guy from the Doomsday Device episode, where there's that giant like funnel thing that's drifting through space, and he tried to blow up his ship in the or it killed all of his crew, I think, and then he was the last one surviving. Anyway, he had broken down. It could have been something like that, where there was a failure, like in Next Generation. A lot of there's characters who are flawed and displayed as being part of Starfleet, but it feels like it is much more common in the original series and in DS9, where the character just has to make a bad call, and then can't live with the consequences. And maybe that's rather than him doing something, because it would be him covering effectively for a trusted captain, right? Like the captain made an error on something, because I'm thinking it's gonna be something that wouldn't. If he is going to end up in command, it's got to be something that's not career destroying. So what if...
Right, but what if the captain... Oh, I see. Right.
So I'm saying that, like, what if it's... The captain did something, and, like, he would have done something that would have royally fucked things up, but he covered for him and did the right thing, I guess. But by not reporting the captain as being a problem, that's the way that he went along with... he compromised his ideals.
Right.
He thought he would have been a straight shooter, he came from, for George's character came from the farm, right?
Right. So like this could be sort of like the military structure of Starfleet versus the personal relationships that you build, and he sort of he thought he would choose the sort of military structure side, but in the end he chose the friendship that he had made with the captain over the sort of...
And it's kind of like that, when you find your parents, when you discover your parents are people kind of thing.
Right.
Oh, you guys fuck up too. Jeez, okay.
Right.
We all do this. And that's sort of the thing, is that he, maybe his but also might be why he's not serving with him anymore. Right. It's just that yeah. Like I can't...
Well, and he learned a lot about, how to actually command a ship, right? It's not just because you're wearing this badge that people have to listen to you. They should respect you and want to listen to you.
So I'm thinking that investigation might be an interesting focus, because it's not that he learned a lot about conducting investigation, he learned a lot about avoiding one. So if there was an inquiry or whatnot, that he's...
I wish I could have done that. Instead, I had to go through all these protocols.
Well, and maybe, and you know, maybe this is where he learns that, you know, the best captains don't always follow the rules, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's something that happened in Star Trek a lot, right? Like
With Kirk, a lot, definitely. And it's the thing that's interesting about those original, like, yeah, you see flawed characters in Next Generation, especially like later seasons after Roddenberry passed away. But the including some pretty like racist stuff against AI, but it's not quite the same. Partly because the pressures are very different. That series, at least at the start, is much more diplomatic and whatnot. You're not seeing people breaking under the pressure of war or, you know, the exposure.
Right, they faced the unknown a lot more, it felt like, in the original series.
Definitely, yeah. All right, so cool. So that gives us then. So the Torsten, do you wish to roll for any other events? Are you satisfied with what you got?
I think we just get the 2, don't we? Or
Well, you get the 2, but because you're a veteran character, you only get the 2 bonuses, but you can roll like a number of different events and then choose which bonuses you want from which events.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep.
Like you could roll if you weren't happy with necessarily those advancements.
Yeah, like if you were hoping to get something that would bump, say, your medicine or something like that, you might, you know, you might want to.
Sure. I mean, I don't have to take the talents from the new one if I, you know. So let's see. Maybe I'll get maybe something interesting happened.
Okay.
A few more years and 4.
Negotiated a treaty.
Doesn't sound like me.
So, what culture was it with? Although I mean this could have built on your experience with the Tholians after the demonstration of how clever, you know, you guys were. They may have just immediately sued for peace in a wider conflict. You know, because I mean they're alien. They're an alien species as well too, and this is something that sort of came after the fact. But they later instances of introducing the Tholians, they talk about them sort of occupying like that their minds or whatnot sort of occupy subspace as well. So like they definitely sort of vibrate on a different frequency than, as it were, than what anyone else does. So the demonstration not of might but of scientific prowess, that may have been the thing that you know they said, all right, well we'll, in the same way that like, you know, people surrendering to a great general may want to make sure they surrender to that general. You know, I'll lay down my arms before Caesar. They may have done something similar with you, where you were an important part of the negotiation process because you were the one who made them go, wait, holy shit. Okay, we gotta, before we continue on with this conflict, we need to reassess how, you know, how competent these characters, how competent these Federation people are.
Yeah, maybe because it was, maybe that was because I noticed here that it says you gain control and command.
Yep.
And then negotiation.
You can mix and match these as well. Like if you decided like one of these makes sense for your character, and you want to dump something you gain from another event, you can take the discipline from one and then the attribute bonus from the other and a focus from a third. Like you just as a character, you don't gain any more than 2 of each of those things. But because your character's been in Starfleet for a while, you can kind of pick and choose.
So like for example, new battle strategy gave me a jump to daring and security.
Yep.
But when I got those, I was like, daring maybe. Security doesn't feel like it fits with everything I've been going with so far. So maybe instead
you could choose command.
This would go with command instead.
Yeah.
And then because where I'm thinking with this is maybe in my character's trajectory in his career, maybe because he was, perfection above all, precision and dedication to truth, and like it was only about the science for him.
Yeah.
And this was the episode. Not only was this like, an important event and it helped begin, I don't know, it led to a negotiation of peace in this sector or something like that, or this system anyway. Maybe it was also for him personally the first realization of making that connection between, it's more than just science for science's sake. Science has an application, and when applied correctly, it's not just about advancing the ship or making it more powerful or whatever, expanding our knowledge. It's about changing the outcome of situations and bringing about a peaceful solution.
Sure, yeah, I love that.
So maybe that's where he starts getting his command experience, and maybe his oh, look at this. We said Star Trek, and it started making him feel way better. Yeah, and then maybe that's when he started getting entrusted with more responsibilities and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So we will take security back down.
Hey, Arlen.
Hey.
What's going on?
Not much. My body thinks 8:30 is nap time, not bedtime. So I woke up down.
So welcome. We're just wrapping up making some Star Trek characters here.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing you could do then is, Andrew, you could. I'm not sure what your focus was that you got from that battle strategy thing, but if you've got something, if you feel that like one of these other ones from Negotiate a Treaty, like diplomacy or negotiate or galactic politics would be more appropriate, feel free to swap that out for that too.
I think new battle strategy, hazard awareness still makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Given the story. In fact, it was the inspiration for the story.
Mm-hmm.
Discovers an ancient artifact. I took ancient technology for that one, but that also makes sense. But maybe not, because the technology was a biotechnology. It wasn't necessarily like ancient. It was. Nah, I don't know. I don't think diplomacy. Oh, I don't know, man.
It's even more.
I'll keep what I have.
Sounds good.
I'll keep what I have.
Do you want to do one more, or are you good with your backstory right now?
Oh, okay. I don't want to take up too much time, but all right, we'll do it quick. We can be quick. 14. Okay. Oh, I think 14 I already had.
14 was a new battle strategy. Yeah, go ahead and reroll. 8. Conflict with a hostile culture. So thrown into war more than you would choose to. So the things to decide: the character is involved in a major battle with a hostile force and is unlikely to forget the experience. Who is the enemy in the battle? Why did the battle occur? Was it fought in space or the ground or both? What did the character have to do to survive? And was the battle won or lost?
I think the battle was lost. Okay. I don't know why, but that's immediately jumping out to me.
Okay.
I think.
Who do you think the hostile species was? Was it? This also doesn't have to be a galactic thing. Like, you could have had a bad, first contact with a species or a planet, right?
If you wanted to continue your sort of storyline as like a part of a sort of season arc, it could be that this new treaty that you've been a part of signing gets called in, a few months later, where it's them that has this conflict with maybe a long-standing army, and they're kind of calling in their new ally to aid them in this combat.
Or what if this?
Or,
what if they
or maybe not even like as an aid, because like, again, I don't want to mess with canon too much, but like, if the Tholians are a aggressor at the time, is the Federation like fully like on at war with the Tholians at the time, or is it just like
they don't know much about them?
Adversaries.
They know that it's just dangerous to go into their territory. So what would be reasonable is if, say, the Tholians, after signing that treaty, they say, we want to call in, we are being attacked, and one way of demonstrating that you're our friends, Federation, is for you to help us. And then you guys go, you and your ship go and deal with this other species, and maybe it's, the Gorn or the Klingons or something like that.
That could work. I'm actually kind of thinking a little bit more of a moral conflict.
Well, here's the twist, is that the thing is that they were never really, they're not calling you in to help them. They instigated the fight with the Gorn or the Klingon or whatever. They knew that you were the threat. They wanted to see what you would do against this new threat. They have no intention of calling in help. They don't need your help. They did it just to see what you would do.
Oh, so they pit us against something that they knew we wouldn't win against, and
Yep.
that could totally work. I had kind of thought of playing with the idea of like we lost,
Yep.
and the moral quandary of it. So I like that. But the other idea I'm thinking is, if that treaty was in place and it was like just a one-off kind of treaty in a specific sector or whatever with the Tholians, more or less less a treaty and more of a non-aggression pact.
Yep.
And we were in that area responding to a distress call, and it turned out it was another species that the Tholians were trying to either take over or colonize or destroy.
Yep.
And my captain, we had a treaty, and Starfleet said, nope, your orders are to leave.
Yeah.
And we sat there, and I was trying to advocate to we can't leave these people. We have an obligation. They're defenseless. They will not win this. And so when I say we lost, it was more of a moral loss.
Love
that
it.
we had to choose to abandon the people who we knew would die or be colonized.
So does that? I mean, it sounds like then that would also explain why you gain none of the focuses or discipline or whatnot from here.
Yeah,
because you guys were
I
actually
like what I have. I don't want the.
Yeah. So then let's move on to finishing touches here. Final things is you guys will each gain one more value. Dave, just because your character is wet behind the ears, you can't start with any attribute above 11.
Okay.
But you may all now, and the rest of you can't start with more than 12. You may now each raise 2 attributes by 2 more. You may not have any disciplines above 5, and may not have more than 1 discipline at 5.
That's everybody or me?
That's everybody. Everybody. But then you also increase 2 more disciplines by 1. So 2 attributes by 1, no higher than 12, and 2 disciplines by 1 each. Those cannot start higher than 5, and you can only have 1 at 5. And there's some final math checks here that we should do. I like that a lot, that they've included that. Attributes should add up to 56. Disciplines added together should add up to 16. Should have 4 values, 4 talents, and 6 focuses. That's a cool way of balancing. Balancing everything. Oh, great. And they got names here, too. Suggested names.
It also says for your last value, one of your values must be a relationship, connecting the character to another character in the crew or another organization or culture.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Are you seeing any of these characters having connections to each other yet?
Well, as far as I have 4 values because my last one was the Emodian culture, but I was just pointing that out for those guys that they might not have one that's a relationship yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking here to see, I have 6 focuses.
Yeah, I got 6 for
4 talents.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 16.
So, and George isn't coming, and Arlen showed up. So, Arlen, we made you a character.
54. Oh, I'm short 2 for... Oh, because I got to do the final additions here.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm happy to play whoever or whatever.
well, we're 45 minutes away from end of session, so we're unlikely to play.
Okay.
But we like
I'm happy to just hang out with you guys. That makes me feel better too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I was saying before too was that the game itself, I think, is interesting enough and does a great job of giving that Star Trek experience. So even if you don't know anything about, Arlen came in playing the game before, knowing nothing about Star Trek, and still said he enjoyed it. So
yeah, I had a lot of fun with our starter set short thing that we did. That was a lot of fun. And I have now seen 3 episodes of Star Trek as opposed to 1 before I played that. So
yeah,
a real expert on the lore here.
Absolutely. Well, I think you saw In the Pale Moonlight, and what was the other one?
And the first one from DS9, and then I was like, I'm not gonna watch through this whole series to get back to the point where I watched that episode.
Another one worth is Darmok. Darmok is my favorite episode of the original of the Next Generation. Paul Winfield plays a character in it too, and it's just, I think it's for someone who enjoys language and allegory. You'll appreciate the sort of it's not a MacGuffin, but sort of like the twist to the series.
Nice. It's cool.
Yeah, great episode.
I had to look it up because I was like, is that the episode? And yes, it is. It is. Yeah, it's a really interesting DS9 episode.
Pale Moonlight?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's because you could not have had an episode like that in any of the other Star Trek series.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Voyager, you could have done it as well, but you could not, it wouldn't have fit. Like, it was perfectly set up. Who was the was it Ronald D. Moore? No. Michael Taylor and Peter Allen Fields.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the writer, but he's someone who wrote a handful of episodes, but all of them are awesome.
Yeah, because it's very much like that. You could tell, I imagine he was one of the writers who, like Moore, had probably struggled during the next gen era. Like, we can't have conflict, we can't have any of this.
Yep.
And that one just puts the whole, like, there's a dark underbelly to all of this, and the Federation is not nearly as perfect as we try to make it out to be.
Well, they also, I think they put they put the characters in circumstances where those values would actually be tested and challenged in the face of really challenging circumstances. Did everyone add their last attributes and disciplines?
Just double check. I think I'm short discipline, so I didn't add anything yet. So
what is your guys' secondary discipline? I know, like, Dave, your security, and Andrew, your science, but did you guys focus on a second discipline, or are you very spread out, or?
I have command, con, and security all at 4, and then engineering, medicine, and science all at 1.
Okay.
I've got science at 4, command and medicine at 3 each, and engineering at 2. The others are at 1.
That's 4, 8, 12.
Okay, I'll increase my...
That's 16. Oh, I guess I can top one of the other ones. So.
I think I'll increase my science to 3, even though you're good at it, because I think it will relate to engineering quite often too. And I realized that was my focus, was Emodian culture, that wasn't a value.
Yeah, value.
So I still need to pick a value that is relationship based.
Yeah, so now that we've kind of met these characters, how do you see them interacting with each other? What do you think the relationship is on the USS Vanguard? Our series where we're creating here, Arlen, is set in the original series period, so 23rd century, and the ship is going to be a Constitution class vessel called the USS Vanguard.
Cool.
And we have created the security chief. We've created the chief engineer and created the chief science officer, potentially also first officer. What's your command? Like there, Torsen?
Command is at now because I add the last 2 for discipline at the very end here. Command is now 4. Science went up to 5.
For sure we'll make you if Captain I've given George's character George had nothing to do with the characters. We're saddling him with this poor denobulan captain. Captain Asha is the commander, and you I think could be an admirable first officer.
Oh, okay. I mean, it makes sense. The veteran trait or whatever. It says specifically, I'm at least the lieutenant commander.
Yeah.
So I guess that would make sense. I have a potential problem, and I don't know where I did it. The final check here. Disciplines are adding up properly. I have 3 values, but I know I have to add a relationship one yet.
Yep.
So that's fine. I have 6 focuses.
Yep.
And I've got the 4 talents. But I only have 54. My attributes only add to 54.
Oh, you're supposed to add 2 points in this last.
Yeah, in this
part.
stage, you're adding 2 more to wherever you like.
You just can't go
one to
above
one and
12.
one to another.
Oh, I'm completely missed. I am okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Never mind.
You can't go above
yeah.
12, and you can't have only one at 12.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then your stress is equal to your fitness attribute plus your security discipline. On all attacks, you gain a bonus challenge dice equal to your security discipline. Something we missed when we first started playing. We're like, why are these phasers doing so little damage?
I think it was actually, we did it opposite. The phasers did way too much damage because we put the full value from the starter set and didn't realize that it calculated it automatically,
Right.
which is why Lieutenant Taprell got almost killed in the first fight.
Jesus Christ!
So what was that? Your stress is what?
Your stress is equal to your fitness attribute plus your security discipline.
And we just like click on the little buttons there to.
Let's see. Stress.
Yeah, I guess we do. We just.
What?
Trying to figure out what-
Where are you seeing these things?
Oh, maybe it fills in automatically. What is this here?
Yeah, I don't see a place to enter anything.
Yeah. So
yeah, maybe it does. Here, if I lower fitness. Yeah, one of the stress bubbles just disappeared.
Cool. Yeah, and
So,
if you touch on the if you hit the button, it clears it altogether. So you can fill it up and then click on stress, and it'll clear your stress meter.
Oh, cool.
We want it to start empty, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. 11, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it calculates that. That's really nice. This sheet
I'm
is so
thinking-
much better than the Conan one.
I think we said exactly that when we played last time.
Yeah.
So while my was it my environment, or I grew up on the Tellarite homeland? I
yep.
think my last value will be something to that effect. I might not know Jeff's character, but I know his people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Yeah,
was
something-
thinking for my last value, I don't have a lot of friends on this ship, and there's no other Tellarites, but maybe I have. To me, I've befriended you, so maybe you don't necessarily think of us friends yet, but to me, I've latched onto you as sort of like you're my friend. Maybe I remind you of your home or whatever. But...
What if to involve Torsten? And also Torsten as the senior officer. What if Torsten knows when Roll joined the crew? Because Torsten grew up on Andor, right?
Yes.
Or Andoria.
I did.
So yeah, so he would know about all the customs and whatnot too. And then Roll would be like, I heard about it third hand, man. Like, I grew up with expats.
Tellarites. What would I know about my own people?
And he'd be like, well, that's interesting because Lieutenant so-and-so, Lieutenant Turkorg. And then, and maybe he did that because, like you say, Jeff, that Turkorg has no friends, so it's sort of let's try and get Turkorg out of his shell and give Rawl...
Right, let's try and make him friends with Rawl, and, like, he sees them as friends,
Yeah. Well, but even in spite of that, too, like, Torsten, you would have understandings of Andorian customs and whatnot that maybe Rawl also has as well.
So then my value would be like something like
It's like growing
Rawl
up...
is a stand-up guy, or
Yeah, or it's, the...
He's a bit of an idealist. and
Rawl is my best friend.
yeah, basically. Eh?
Mine says Tellarite friendship in brackets, maybe even Torskirk.
What about you?
Okay, so hold on. So I understand. Turkorg and Roll are friends.
Well, that's
Yeah, I'm putting air
established.
quotes.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I couldn't see you behind my character sheet.
No. So quote unquote friends. And you're saying, Kevin, that my character like understands they have this weird friendship, but it's not.
I think
Like,
it
I
was...
don't
he
understand
set
the
it up
connection
kind of
I
thing.
have.
I think you set it up because because you're a senior officer. If you're first officer, you would have you'd be aware of what people are coming on especially for officers, and department heads. You'd know who's coming on the crew, and when Rawl joined the crew, you'd be like, oh, an Andorian, cool. And you may have like tried to talk to him about a bunch of Andorian stuff, and he's like, I actually grew up on Tellar. And then he's like, oh, well, you know what? And you saw an easy way to solve a problem, which was that Turkorg is just kind of an asshole.
Like a loner, for sure, that no one appreciates.
And you know, I wonder as well, because if I'm the first officer, if I'm the executive officer, that's also it would also be my role to like do assignments and to look into the backgrounds, and so I would look through the records and I would know that incident that Roll had with a superior officer would absolutely stand out to me, and I'd be like, and the record's probably been fine since then.
Yep.
But I'm like, let's put him with this, like,
by the book.
Roll is a bit of, it looks like a bit of a hothead.
Screw. The way
So let's put him with a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And see how that goes, because that should be fun.
Love it.
Because I'm a bit of a dick too.
That's awesome. So then, and I mean, with you being the sort of dotting I's, crossing T's, sort as well too, that fits with the more rough and tumble Captain Asha, because she's used to. I mean, we're very much playing into the original series trope here, but nothing wrong. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Well, probably, yeah. So she's a little bit more like, take the risks and go out there, and she relies on me to make sure that everything else is working, and that I've done the calculations, so to speak.
Well, and I bet that because she may be less detail oriented, that's where she may strongly rely on Turkorg and Torsten, and likewise may really appreciate Rawls kind of like, come on, let's fucking do it, kind of jumping in,
Because I bet you both the senior staff meetings, and I would assume that the captain and the XO would also have one-on-ones every so often, that she probably finds me utterly just boring, nauseatingly boring, because I don't have an adventurous bone in my body. And so she just likes Roll because of that.
But in spite of, and it probably is, he downplays the I mean, I was involved a bit in the negotiation of the peace treaty with the Tholians. Like, wait, what? Hold on, you?
Yeah, I never talk about my past.
No,
to anybody. Yeah. Well, we all have our indiscretions.
Yeah. How old do you foresee? I guess so. The last thing, guys. I mean, well, not last thing, but one of the last things. And obviously, like, some of these characters will be played with makeup or prosthetics on. But who would you cast as your character? Who would be playing your character in the TV series of our Star Trek Vanguard?
Also, quick, so if the value is the last one is related to that relationship, do we still pick one of the values that are suggested in the book there? So
you can make it whatever you could, if you can swirl it to make it fit to what your idea is. Absolutely.
Because I could say, like, holds everyone to the highest standard is one that's written there, and that could be my, like, Roll is a bit of a hothead. Let's put him with someone who is a perfectionist like me, because I get that, and I think that's what he needs. And likewise, I'm going to hold this engineer, like, he's a bit of a hotshot, thinks that, like, he's so focused on his work, I'm going to hold him to that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. So here's one thing we need to do as well, guys.
What's our budget like, Kev? Like, are we like B-rated show? Are we got like a big?
Sky's the limit, guys.
I was going to say, our civilization got rid of attachments to money centuries ago. I don't know what you mean the budget.
Talking about the studio producers, are they letting me go out and get like Kit Harington and just paint him blue, or like
whatever you want?
I'm going with. I think that Turkorg is played by Seth Rogen.
You can also go with dead actors too. I have cast Oliver Reed in several series already. So, Okay. Oh, there used to be.
The ship version?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let me look and see if there's a...
Oh, hold up. You know what? There we go.
Yep.
I
Under
think
the
we're gonna go
cog.
with-
Under the cog. Sheet type.
Nice.
Starship registry entry. Yep. Yep.
Oh, man, there's so much cool stuff on this sheet.
It's a great sheet. Yeah, yeah. So this is the last thing, and Arlen, we definitely want you to participate in this, because your as yet introduced Starfleet officer will be joining us. So Lieutenant Prowl would have been very welcome, but this is about 100 years before. Vulcans live a long time, but even...
Yeah. Although I'm not sure why time difference wouldn't that be okay for Star Trek? You just have like some warp issue and suddenly you've got people from a different time?
They have
or is that
always...
less common than I expect?
There are certain crews who seem to have it come up all over and over and over again, but it seems like it eventually leads to the creation of a like specific division within Starfleet that is like fucking Kirk. Ugh.
Classic.
There's a great episode of DS9 called Trials and Tribulations, and it is when the DS9 crew gets thrown back in time, and they're intercut between the original Trouble with Tribbles episode and them kind of acting. It's a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern kind of thing, where like that whole thing's going on, and it's framed as an interview or like a debriefing by this time agency. And as soon as Kirk's name came up, they're like, ugh, Kirk. So many violations of the Temporal Prime Directive.
I love the whole like the interaction between the crew and Worf, and they're like, "Those are Klingons."
Yeah, we
He's
don't
like,
talk
we
about
don't
it."
talk about it. Like continuity problem solved.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So
I'm speaking of like actors to play characters. We've been watching, Chelsea and I have been watching so much ER lately, just because I bought it for Valentine's Day, so we've been binging it.
Yep.
And like, I don't know why, but Eric LaSalle is popping out in my brain as like the perfect guy to play this Torsten, this perfectionist.
Yep. Love Kit Harington in blue makeup. It's fantastic. What about Turkorg? What do you think? He's been under a lot of prosthetics, but...
I think I'm going to go with Seth Rogen.
Oh, you said... I'm sorry, Jeff, you did say
problem.
that. I was so distracted by the character sheet, or for the Vanguard. Alright, so let me add in... Where are we here?
Captain's log, stardate. We need at least one of those.
Well, the star date for the original series made no damn sense whatsoever, because they were making up shit on the fly.
Just whatever sounded good.
Yeah, whatever sounded good. Although that's a good lesson for... Okay, so this is the USS Vanguard. Oops. Space frame. Okay, mission profile will... space frame is the Constitution class. So the neat thing with the Star Trek Adventures RPG 2 is that you guys have a shared asset, at least in the default play, of your, what do you call it, of your ship. Also, I put Constitution, not Constitution. Fucking illiterate DM. Jeez. Alright, so the systems for... let's see here. Comms are 7. Weapons are 8. So the neat thing with the ships is that if you do things where you make use of the ships, do you guys remember how, and actually, Andrew, you won't know this, but the way that I mentioned that the most dice you can roll for task resolution is 5. You'll start with 2, you can gain up to 3 things, and that's it. What you can also do is have people help, and they may contribute 1 dice to the overall things. That's a way you get yourself beyond. The way the game works is that your ship, if you're making use of their systems or whatnot, they help you. So you make your characters roll for things. If you're using the sensors, you'll make a sensors check modified by science, or modified by the different... The ships have systems which are the equivalents of attributes, and they have departments which are the equivalents of disciplines. Okay, so structure is 8. The engines are 8. All right. This is such a great looking sheet. Holy smokes. The departments, command goes up by 1. Security by 1. Bless you. Science up by 1. Bless you again.
That's right. There's always 2.
Oh, that's quite all right. Okay, and then also, just like characters, the vehicles have talents as well, too. The Constitution class starts with the rugged design and modular laboratories. Laboratories, there we go.
That's awesome.
What's that?
Modular laboratories?
Modular laboratories. It means you can I can't remember what it specifically does, but it gives you bonuses for being able to set up your your scientific talents to whatever you need.
I thought you said laboratories. I was like,
laboratory,
like modular toilets that you they brought Why do they have porta potties? What are they talking about? Wow.
Okay, so phaser banks. There's come on, game. There we go. Photon torpedoes. Oops.
Folks at home, that's the problem when you got bad hearing and you're trying to read and just.
All right, and tractor beam. Come on. All right, so then, guys, tractor beam. That is just the base. So the way that you make your ship character is you start with the base, like space frame of a specific type of ship. Then we decide on a mission profile. So the mission profiles are strategic and diplomatic operations, pathfinder and reconnaissance operations, technical test bed, tactical operations, scientific and survey operations, crisis and emergency response, or multi-role explorer. Multi-role explorer is sort of the jack-of-all-trades type thing.
What page is this, Kev?
I'm on page 251 of the core book. 251.
Well, we know that we've done some strategic and diplomatic operations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we could have also been a scientific and survey operations ship that got involved in that because it was sort of Torsten's science stuff that...
This will also help inform kind of what you think the series would be about, too.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
The core rulebook is set up to handle like every period that we've seen in the films or the TV show. So they're not all these are necessarily reflective of the time period that our series is set in. So like like tactical operations, you're not really at war with anyone right now, so that would be unusual to just outfit it for. I
like scientific and survey operations.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially if exploration is kind of our focus.
And it kind of makes sense with a lot of our missions that happened if you sort of include the disease, the rust disease, and the scientific stuff, and the finding the artifact. It's like sort of what we've been doing, right? Science and surveying.
Okay. Then, one thing I just want to check here is... okay, I got screwed one thing up. The basic systems, I've got some of your systems a little too high. That is okay, I can fix that now. Okay, so your command is going to be at a 3 then. Your security is at a 2. Your sciences is at a 4. Con is at a 2. Engineering is at a 3. And medicine is at a 2. You also get to pick one of the following talents, guys. Advanced research facilities, advanced sensor suites, high-resolution sensors, or modular laboratories. Modular Give me those porta potties. So you already got that. So it's high-resolution sensors, advanced sensor suites, or advanced research facilities. Those are all found on page 256 and 257. Nope, 255 through 258. So advanced research facilities. Needs to have science of 3 or higher, which you got. Whenever a character on board attempts a task to perform research, they are assisted by the ship's computers plus science. The character gains 1 bonus momentum, which must be used to obtain information. So that's what advanced research facilities do. Advanced sensor suites. Unless the sensors have suffered 1 or more breaches, whenever a character performs a task assisted by the ship's sensors, they may reduce the difficulty of the task by 1 to a minimum of 1. So that's pretty sweet. And then high-resolution sensors. Give you. While the vessel is not in combat, any successful task that is assisted by the ship's sensors gains a bonus momentum, and there's no restriction on how you spend that momentum. The way momentum works, Andrew, is to like buy extra cool results.
Okay.
Yeah, like the way the game works is you roll against a set difficulty, which is like the number of successes you would need. Every success you roll over that generates momentum, and then you spend that to get different results, or to pay it forward and get bonus dice for people's next things.
But getting extra dice costs us, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In some way.
No. That's only you can choose to give me to give me like it's not called trouble, but it's something like that. You can give me Doom. It's called Doom in Conan. But this is a way of getting that momentum without having to, give me more nasty shit to use. And then the final one... Oh, that's all of them. Yeah, so what do you think, guys? Advanced...
No, the last one's modular laboratories.
Which you already have.
Oh, we already have that?
Yep.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I was
Constitution-
going to say, that one's kind of cool.
It's already got modular laboratories or laboratories, and it's already got rugged design. Oh, nice.
Rugged design, yes.
Reduce the difficulty of all tasks to repair the ship by 1 to a minimum of 1.
So are we in a refit Constitution class?
No. This is it may have gone through refits, but it's not the refit Constitution or Enterprise class.
Oh, okay.
No.
So, do we want to go with the sensor suite?
Yeah,
Okay.
the advanced sensor suite. Sounds cool.
Okay.
Well,
Maybe
especially also
that,
fitting
yeah.
with the science focus, right? And science and exploration.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like the idea. The modular laboratories is a cool one for if we do use this setup for our gaming marathon, because it lets you at the start of each adventure decide how those laboratories are configured, so we can sort of adjust the ship a little bit based on who's there and what's going on.
Yep.
What
Definitely.
the mission is, or what we think we might have to do.
Well, and if somebody can only make 1 session or whatever and hasn't made a character, if Kev wants, he could, like, let's say, for example, make up a couple of extra scientists that are specialized in certain things that it's like, oh,
Well,
you're on
here's the
this
cool.
science
The way that it
mission,
works in Star Trek Adventures, I don't make them up. You guys do. This is the supporting cast and the supporting crew. You guys make that stuff up. Because you may actually play those characters. And one of the things you get, instead of just getting like flat XP to increase your characters, it's much more diluted amongst the things. So like your characters may not necessarily just raise numbers, but you may change things. So like one of your attributes might go up and the other one might go down. Or one of your disciplines might go up and another one might go down. Or you might change a focus. Or you might, it's very... very story-oriented. The supporting characters, though, I believe they are the ones who can, because they start off less competent. This is sort of like Reginald Barclay the first time you see him, as opposed to when he becomes sort of a recurring character and becomes more competent on screen.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. That's great. So it's because we say, like, if we need to know, right now we don't have anybody who is the helmsman. So we just kind of throw together a character, assign some stats, and then we meet this character over the course of play the same way we would in the TV series. And maybe they'll remain a background character, or maybe you guys will be like, you know what, I really like this kind of this Bajoran, helmsman. Let's check out what this guy's up to. I'm going to play him for this session, because you're going to assign values and whatnot. And those characters, as you play them, you get to flush them out as well, too. So it becomes this, again, like a shared kind of part of the campaign experience of you guys, populating the ship as we go along. If, say, Arlen, if we had time to actually play, we could have gone through the expedited process and just hammered together a character for Arlen, not gone through the full care gen part, right? And then the care gen is the fun. I think it is a really, really fun part of this game. But if needs be, we could have just hammered something together and then boom, we're off to the races or to the final frontier, as the case may be. All right, so then bridge stations. Okay, so then final.
So if I wanted to play that helmsman and Rawl was sitting there and somebody else wanted to play Rawl, now we've got some fun stuff happening with Rawl.
You could do that. It's not, the characters that you generate are sort of expected to be the stars of the game, so you'd probably go back to them, but there's nothing to prevent you. It's not something they expressly contemplate of you playing, if we were to take the original series as a campaign structure, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are really the player characters, right?
Yeah.
And McCoy's player misses a lot of sessions because he's not there. Or alternatively, McCoy's player keeps making new fucking characters, and we keep seeing them come along. Because those characters are we don't see Scotty in every single episode, or at least not playing a big role. We don't see Sulu playing a big role, but he's often there on the bridge. Same thing with Chekhov. Yeah. They're not really, they may have one line in certain episodes, and Chekhov's not even in the original first season, right? But over the course of play, you may be like, you know what? I kind of like the way this character is going. Maybe that character becomes more important than what your main character is, but it won't get away from the fact that those are sort of the characters that the campaign is about, primarily. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, totally.
Okay. All right, so we're going to put it all together. Let's give the final thing here. The traits for the Vanguard. They have a single trait, which is Federation Starship, as standard. So we have a trait in here. There we go. Okay. So we can go through refits of the thing as well, too. I'm just going to skip that for now. A ship's departments are determined by its class and its mission profile. Add them together to get the final department scores. We did that. Talents, we did that. Scale, we did that. It's based on the size of the ship. The resistance is equal to its scale, so it has a resistance of 4. Shields. Shields are equal to its structure plus its security. So its structure is 8. Its security is a 12. That means you have... Oh, and it already fills it out. Shields are effectively your hit points in the game. Or in the... yeah. Power is equal to your engines, and then talents may modify that. Look at that. It's already at 8. And then what you do is you can spend power to either take different actions or boost the chances of different actions. Starship Crew's support is equal to its scale. So where's support? Maybe further modified. Oh, there we go. If you take a supervisor talent. And weapons. The damage that energy weapons inflict is equal to its scale plus its security. Security is a... it's a 2. Okay, so that means phaser banks do 6 damage. Photon torpedoes do flat damage, I believe. Where is that? So I can fill this out and have this ready to take its maiden voyage when we get a chance. Let's see here. Photon torpedoes. Where the heck is it? Oh, come on, book. As I mentioned at the outset, the layout in the book is a little challenging to find stuff sometimes. There are some unusual, especially in the player or the... there we go. Photon torpedo damage is 3. Some of the damage or the rules for Starship stuff is divided into like 3 different sections. So, it's challenging sometimes. All right, and then, traits. We already got that. Starship weaponry. Guys, I believe that the Vanguard and her crew are ready for their maiden voyage. So,
Sweet.
oh, mission profile. We said, what was it? Science and exploration.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty awesome. All right. Designation.
Not a warship. But
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going to kick some ass. I mean, take some names.
Let's see here. NCC 1994. We'll put it. It's the year Jaden was born. So.
I'm going to say, 94 wasn't a bad year.
Yep. Most definitely. Okay. Then, guys, that brings us to the end of our character generation session. So, guys, what did you think of character creation in Star Trek Adventures?
It's lots of fun. I really enjoyed it.
I
enjoyed
I
it,
wasn't even here
Harlan?
for most of it, and I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Although I had
I-
I was gonna say I had an idea that for my casting,
Yep.
I could be Andy Serkis because we know as a person he's really good, but he could also be like in a mocap suit if that's a
Yep.
thing that we want him to do. Even though, so he could fit whatever I end up playing.
It works absolutely. The
Yeah, this is you know, it's fun. It's funny because when we were before we started, we were trying to figure out what to play tonight. Before we all hit on this, oh wow, we all love Star Trek. Why don't we play Star Trek? We had talked about The Witcher, and one of the things that I liked about that was last week having watched you and Jeff making characters in the Witcher game and using the dice rolls to create not the narrative, but like an event or something in which the player then can fulfill it out a little bit. And there's a lot of that in this, like rolling up the career events and stuff like that, where it just gives you a bit of a framework, and then you have to come up with the ideas and stuff, and that really helps flush out the character.
completely agree.
Yeah, I liked that a bit. As you know, much as I was like, oh, I can't think of a damn thing. Was on the spot. That's more to do with it being late on a Friday of a long week than it has anything else. But no, I like that a lot. Where it's not just because then it doesn't feel like my character sheet is just a bunch of stats, you know, that I rolled for. You know, there's meaning behind each and every one of those stats that has a specific place in my character's history that we developed through a process, not just like, oh, my character did this and I just wrote some BS down, you know. And I'm ragging on D&D hard right now for some reason.
Except when we got to the
D&D.
except when we got to the end, Andrew, and you and I were both short a couple of points and had to just, you know, massage the numbers to make it work.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, one thing I'll say though is that the with D&D, like if you're intending on playing D&D where like the story is going to engage in a great deal with your backstory and whatnot too, that is still going to be collateral to what the vast majority of the rules are about, which is about fighting and exploring and whatever else. Like that's what the game is, the core mechanic of the game is designed to do. You can absolutely add more things in there, and I'm not saying that that's all that D&D is about, but the stuff that you would create, that backstory and whatnot, it doesn't mechanically have an enormous impact on what you're doing, especially like rules as written. Whereas here, your values, your edges and whatnot, those do have a continuing mechanic, especially your values have a specific mechanical impact on your character and also the development of your character over time as your values are challenged and then they change over time as well. So you spending that much time developing the character that way, it partly is by necessity to give you the best and most rewarding way of interacting with the game, the way the game's designed to be played. So it's no fault of D&D about that. It's just you're yeah, exactly. You're trying to like hammer in a nail with a sprinkler. We'll kind of do it, but it's not really what it's designed for. Jeffrey, what'd you think?
I think it works really well. I think it's I'm looking forward to playing these characters. Actually, I've got a good feel for who they are after going through the process, and I feel like they're ready to go. It made me want to play the game as well, I think, which is a neat aspect of the character gen.
I think I have some votes I could cast since I donated after the last run.
This is going to be one of the ones in the sci-fi. It's gonna be an interesting. What do you call it? An interesting voting because there's a couple of fan or at least viewer favorites that are going to be on up for votes for during the sci-fi one. But this is definitely. I think this is a. When we ran it before, I think the only reason we switch is because we sort of had set ourselves to be like, we're going to rotate games. We're intentionally going to rotate games, but we all really enjoyed the first adventure, particularly when we got off script.
Yeah, I think what we all said at the end was that we would happily play more. Did we want to keep with the sort of quarterly rotating schedule, or did we want to just play more Star Trek?
Do you remember what we played instead?
I think we played Zweihander next.
Yeah. Which we ended early.
We ended early, and then I think we did Dracula Dossier after that.
Yes.
And then we ended and then Sundays turned into something else.
Yeah, the pandemic started.
After Dracula Dossier, so yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty great. And it gives me an enormous amount of stuff to play with as well too, because you guys have characters with motivations and values and whatnot too. So I can do those great story focused ones, and I love the bonkers backstories for each of these characters as well too. This is something that indulges my more elaborate flights of fancy as a DM of like, ooh, we'll make them talking trees with flesh robots. So look forward to that. All right. The thing I will say too is that because of the way they choose to structure the the extended tasks and the research and stuff like that too, it does a fun job in the same way that Savage Worlds makes chases really fucking fun, or networking really fun or whatnot, is because it makes a fun game of it, and there's unpredictable things, and you can do things to affect your process or your progress through those things. This does a very similar thing too, with that, and it's in a kind of almost magical level of sci-fi tech, as opposed to the more earthy of Star Wars or something like that. So awesome stuff, guys. Well, thanks for playing Star Trek Adventures. I'm really impressed with the characters that you guys came up with. Arlen in particular, yours. Oh man,
yeah.
I can't even say anything about him or her or it, or them. So, for those listening at home, thank you so much for. We apologize once again for if you were expecting Night Below. I apologize that we weren't able to play that tonight, but hope you enjoyed our foray into character creation with Star Trek Adventures. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the game we played, or the crew that we put together, please do not hesitate to put a comment in the comment section of the video, and I will endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. You can also find a link in the description of the video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server. While we don't have a channel dedicated to this game, we have channels dedicated to every other game we run on the channel, as well as a bunch of other stuff, and you can certainly chat with folks there about Star Trek Adventures. You can also find all of us active there, and a bunch of other great topics as well too, like finding a group, like setting up a virtual tabletop, or learning about our charity initiatives. Dave mentioned that we have a vote coming up that will be determining what the next charity session will be that we will be playing. And speaking of charity sessions, you can also find a link in the description of the video to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really terrific organization active in over 130 countries that benefits over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children. And thanks to the generosity of the Dungeon Musings community, we've already raised over $3,000 for them this year alone, which is mind-boggling given the current state of the world. So I am absolutely flabbergasted by the generosity of the community thus far. And my small way of saying thank you to those who donate is for every $25 Canadian that you donate, you get one chance to win a prize in one of our charity raffles. The next charity raffle will be August 1st, 2021. The grand prize for that is going to be a copy of Beadle and Grimm's Legendary Edition Curse of Strahd, something that Beadle and Grimm have very generously donated to the campaign. And if you don't win that, there's still a bunch of other great prizes as well. Those who won prizes in our last raffle, those will all be going up. I'm out of quarantine now, so all those prizes will be going out this weekend. So you can expect to get an email from me. If you have emailed me with what you wanted, if you won something from the Dungeon Musings Redbubble shop, yeah, all the stuff will be heading in the mail this weekend, so look forward to seeing those prizes heading out. And if you don't win, you still get a chance to vote on what games we play for our charity sessions, and you get a chance to help outfit our heroes. If you go over to the Dungeon Musings Discord server and to the Charity Initiatives tab, you'll see the great extra materials, the gear, the extra experience and whatnot that the generous donors have outfitted, using the money they donated in an equal kind to try and help our heroes survive the horrors that I will be putting them through. And speaking of the heroes, the last thing I'll say is an enormous thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. So, Arlen, Dave, Jeffrey, Andrew, thank you so much for diving into this final frontier and going through a full character generation with Star Trek Adventures, guys. That was really, really a lot of fun. Like, even better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for running.
Agreed.
Excellent. So for those listening again, thank you so much for joining us. As if you're joining us during the current crisis, we do hope this finds you healthy, safe, and weathering the current crisis as well as can be expected. We hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off of the troubles of our world and think about these new Starfleet officers who are venturing out into the final frontier. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.
See ya.
Yeah, I like the Vulcan salute.